Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to ReelTok episode 76. Today we have a very fun episode as this week Dune Part 2 is going to be coming out. So to get ready for that, we're doing a Denis Villeneuve special. We're going through his entire filmography. We've been cranking through them this week. We're going to go from front to back, all the way leading us to up to where we are today with Dune Part 2. We're also going to talk Avatar: The Last Airbender. George is going to give his review on the series so far. We're going to talk normal movie news and trailers in general as well. But really today is all about Denis Villeneuve. Going to go deep into his filmography. Going to be a good time. But as always, shout out to our executive producer, Stefan Johnson, the one and only king right now that is our executive producer. But with that being said, how are we doing this week? George and Cam are both not here last week as Seth and I had guests last week. But George, how you been?
Fine. Spent the week in the hospital, obviously, post-surgery, which is just torturous. It's just uncomfortable to sleep. It's uncomfortable to move. So I got home Thursday. Been fine since. Still in like a pretty good amount of pain. But they gave me Tylenol, which is cool, I guess. But
Hell yeah.
It's fucked up because like when you're in the hospital, they pump you with pain meds 24/7.
Yeah.
And then when they release you, they're like, "Here's Tylenol. Good luck, dude." And it's like, all right, cool, thanks.
Over the counter, or at least like heavy duty?
No, yeah, it's like heavy duty.
Okay, yeah, that's
right. Yeah, if it was over the counter, I'd be fucked.
Yeah,
which would be so fucked. But I'm good. I'm good. Getting back to like up and about, going on walks, just trying to get my strength back slowly. 3 months till I can go to the gym, so just kind of counting down those days.
3 months, really?
Yeah,
I thought you were almost to the hump. I'm sorry.
Nah, I mean, technically I am.
Technically, yeah.
This was like the last step of it, but yeah, 3 months, which is actually not a bad thing. So before I even went in for the surgery, my sister was like, "Yeah, it's going to be," because she's a nurse at the cancer center I go to. Oh. She's like, "Yeah, it's going to be probably like a year's recovery," and I'm like, "Shut the fuck up!" I'm like, no, it's not. I'm not recovering for a year. And then the surgeon was like, 3 months, no heavy lifting. I'm like, all right, that's way better than a fucking year.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my week, sitting in a hospital bed watching movies.
It's kind of fucked up that it takes cancer for me to be able to lift as much as you, George. I don't know if that's a joke I'm allowed to tell. I hope that's all right.
That was a funny joke. You could definitely lift more than me right now. I had trouble picking up this fucking microphone yesterday to bring it to my desk.
Damn. Sorry to
hear. You look healthy. You look really much healthier though. Like
yeah,
much.
I feel good. I feel a lot better now.
Got more life.
I did like. Definitely. Yeah, I got like my color back. My hair's coming back. Obviously, my fullness is coming back. I'm like eating more, so I'm gaining more weight.
Your mustache.
The stash growing faster than the rest of the beard.
Is that just like faster growing, or did you plan for that? Okay.
No, that's just faster.
As a guy who can't grow a beard, I don't understand how that works.
No, this is just faster growing, which is annoying because it makes me look like a fucking like pedophile or a porn star or something. I don't like the singular beard.
I'd say more so a few days ago, but right now your stubble everywhere else is in strong.
Yeah,
where
it's
it'd be weird if it was on its own. If it was just on its own, I'd tell you to get rid of it like straight away. I'd be like,
if it was just the mustache, I would not have it. But
I think it kind of
outside.
I think you pull
once everything gets long enough, I'm going to shave it all down or trim it all down to the same length and then let it grow out together.
That's fair. I don't know if it's a compliment, but I think the porn star look, you can pull it off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll start my new career tomorrow.
Yeah, if the finance industry ever goes downhill for you.
Yeah.
Cam, how have you been? You're matching George on the olive green shade colored on the right side of the screen or left side. I don't know which way to look when it uploads, but yeah, how's it going?
Two good looking guys in green, of course. It's going well. Yeah. Had a bachelor party last weekend in Arizona. Got to meet Tyler. He's lovely. Tall as shit. Threw me off a little. That's like my biggest takeaway when I came back home and was like, "How's Tyler?" I'm like, "He's so tall." It pissed me off.
You cooked me in Topgolf. How was actual golf? How'd you do?
82. But let me say,
that's
Tyler,
a really good score.
Let me say, Arizona's kind of Mickey Mouse golf courses, or at least the one I played, because like the desert, you get so much roll. My shout out my buddy Andrew Etchison, my best friend. He was best man in my wedding. Shout out him. He has never broken 100. He shot 99. Nice. It's crazy, but like every duff he had went like 120 yards still.
Because it's so dry that I think it's probably just a lot harder grass, and also there's way less trees, so you lose way less balls.
Yeah, that's
is
that's
really
it. That's very true.
saying right now?
I
What
didn't
is
lose a single golf ball. It was awesome. Seth, you got to get into golf. Golf's great.
I've never
Uh,
played golf in my life.
the
I want to go
courses
to
by
like
you are
driving.
tough though. Like at least that is like strictly based
Yeah,
off my knowledge of
Cam
like
and I would know.
PGA
We played a
courses.
virtual. We played a virtual.
Oh yeah, we did.
So we know exactly what it's
Did
like
not
in the
shoot
UK
as well
golf
on the
course.
virtual
St.
golf
Andrews, we
course.
played virtual St. Andrews, but
Does 100 mean like? Is it like 18 holes? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so 100 is 28 over on most courses. So okay, I'm not explaining golf to you. I'm not explaining golf.
Yeah, it would be too much to get into. But Cam did very, very, very good for his score, basically.
Yeah, but it was really annoying because I hit my driver about as well as I've ever hit it, and I was like 60 yards out on like at least 12 out of 18 holes. And I bladed the ball past by like 30 yards every time. So that was frustrating.
Did you ask him if he was okay after?
The ball?
No, you said you hit your driver.
Yeah, the driver, not driver of car. Bad joke. I like it though. Not driver of car.
Is a driver? Is that the one that goes
the
like
big
far?
boy, the big club,
the one they use at the start?
Yeah, I was cranking it.
Okay.
I had a 350-yard drive. That's probably one of my longest, so I was happy with that. Good week, but like after shout out Connor Lash getting married this summer. Shout out him. You know how like every time after you get back from a vacation, you just feel sick because like I was in much warmer weather. You can kind of see outside right now. There's a little bit of snow on the ground if you can see through my window. Wow. Not horrible. Like it's been a fine week weather-wise, like in the 50s, but it's just not Arizona weather. And so I've been sick all week. Real tired, catching back up on sleep. I had a 1 a.m. flight out, and it got delayed till 2:30. So I just like didn't sleep at all the Monday morning, and that was awful. But happy to be back. I think the Soups and Alex episode looked like it went really well. I can't believe Soup's inside outtake. I still don't know if it's BS.
He's never allowed on the podcast.
Yeah, no, he might be canceled. He might be canceled.
Did you see the clip that we posted or the Matteo posted yesterday? It's
like doing well. Yeah.
Dude, Matt literally described the film and then said,
I know that's
so
which is funny. What like I was still so unsure on the pod if he was being truthful or not. So I didn't question it, but I was like, so you don't like it because like the movie was sad? Like
I'm telling him he's wrong. I might cancel Stoops.
Kind of basic take though.
If that's a real take though, then he's had a good life though. It sounds like he's like, man, this movie sucks. Like sadness just kind of ruins things in people's lives. I'm like, have you never?
Yeah, that is what sadness does, man. Shout out Soups maybe for being too happy for Inside Out, but
shout out Soups, happiest guy who exists.
You're canceled. But yeah, happy to be back.
Excited all the comments are
excited for the. I've been hyping up the game this week too much, so excited.
The
real quick game this week should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm excited to see what it is. But that'll be on Thursday. Seth, how have you been doing this week?
Shit. Let's move on. Terrible.
All right.
What it is.
Well, that'll do it. My week was solid. So Cameron came and visited, but that was kind of last weekend. That was a good time. Then the week was pretty standard, nothing crazy out of the ordinary. So tomorrow, there's uploading Monday, but the day Sunday of this week is my 3-year anniversary with Riley. So that's great. We're going to be having a good time going to see Dune. Might do like a dinner or something. She's working, so like she has to sleep today. Yeah,
so annoyed at everyone.
Nice. And then, but the big news is we're seeing Tenet on Tuesday, so that'll be huge.
How long is it available for you? Is it like a week?
I think initially it was a week, but I think it might be 2 now.
I'm pissed when I'm getting to hear, man. It's kind of annoying. I thought we would have done.
Twitter's already overflown with people that are joining the Tenet side of history. I'm like, welcome. We've been waiting for you.
I feel like I'd be there, rewatch IMAX a few years down the line, but they don't want to give it me.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's crazy too is it's not like you with Oppenheimer, where it's like you were already at like a 4.5, and then like you watched it again, it got up to 5. I'm seeing people that were like, I like kind of hated this when it came out. Now I'm like, it's like all clicking for me. I'm like, people are moving up like 2 whole stars on Letterboxd.
Yeah,
Tenet's gaining a lot of allies, and fun. Going to be excited to rewatch it. I haven't seen it since like 2021, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I'm excited to see it. But my week's been pretty standard overall. I have another friend coming into town this week it's just bachelor party in Arizona, bachelor party season in Arizona. So similar to Cam, my friend's coming like a day early. We're just gonna hang out, and then I let him off into the wild and go to his bachelor party and have fun with debauchery. But yeah, what have you been watching, Cameron?
Time out real quick.
Yes,
Tyler, last week you said like I dropped my club at Top Golf, which I did. But my parents like texted me and were like, why'd you
They
throw
listen
your
to
club at
pod?
Top Golf? Yeah, they listen to the pod. My dad like drives to Michigan for work, so he listens to the pod every week. So shout out that. But he was like, why'd you throw your club at Top Golf? It's like, your friends aren't going to want to play golf with you if you take it too seriously. I'm like, I didn't throw the damn thing. It slipped out of my hand.
Yeah, it slipped out of your hand, but it's like it wasn't a throw for sure, but also dropped.
looking-
Like, yeah, it's like dropped. How do you drop it? Like, I don't even know how it happened.
I don't
didn't
know what
even see it
happened.
go
I
down.
honestly don't know what
literally-
happened. Like I literally looked around. I'm like, what happened here?
Yeah, good times. Good times.
yeah.
What have you been watching, Cam? Anything on the plane?
Nothing. Because yeah. So I watched a bunch on the plane going there. So have we talked this? What's better in your opinion on planes, rewatches or new watches? I'm a rewatch guy.
Rewatch it. Any travel is
Definitely rewatches.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, any travel
Yeah,
is
I didn't
rewatches.
know if that was like a spicy thing, but I'm a rewatch guy. I'm on the plane there. I watched some Oppenheimer, some Spider-Man.
Which Spider-Man? Across
The mid one.
Homecoming. Great.
Homecoming.
Love Homecoming so much.
That's my favorite Tom Holland one.
Nice. Sure.
That's not saying a lot.
And they did have Far From Home. They had like they had almost all the Spider-Mans except like No Way Home. Or sorry, they had all like the most recent Spider-Mans. They had none of the Andrew Garfield back. But they didn't have No Way Home. Which like it didn't matter. But I was gonna watch Into the Spider-Verse on my way home. But again, I was trying to sleep the whole time, but I don't sleep well on planes. So I was like sitting there like this, and then I'd like wake up, So yeah, I didn't watch a ton this week, even though I thought I'd watch a bunch on the plane. Watched Polytechnique, Madam Web, got around to watching that, and like that took me 10 or 15 spurts of watches. I'm gonna be honest with everyone. I just didn't give a fuck.
No one's gonna be mad at you for that one.
Yeah, sorry.
You could have watched that on your
You know
phone.
what? I'm actually happy I pirated that one. Sony does not deserve money for that. Maelstrom, right? That's how it's pronounced.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah. And then Arrival last night. Arrival's great. I wanted to watch Blade Runner 2049. I just didn't have time this week. Seth, I watched Blue Velvet a while ago, or not a while ago at this point, but we haven't talked since I watched it. Kind of loved it.
Twice.
I think I was really proud of my review, saying it takes Criminally Horny to a whole new level. I was really proud of that
We've
one.
spoke about this like 2 times on the podcast, I swear.
No, I wasn't here last week, brother.
Yeah, I don't think
I watched it 1 week
the week
ago.
before.
No, I watched it 1 week ago.
Unless I just text you. We've had a conversation.
I mean, you texted me and was like, "This, I love this."
On the podcast?
No,
Are you sure? When did you watch it? I thought it was like
1
3
week
weeks
ago. I can tell you the exact date, February 12th,
That's
February 15th,
so weird.
2024.
Maybe I'm just
9
thinking
days
because we
ago.
spoke about it on the on
Group
like
chat.
text.
But yeah,
Oh,
and
shit.
I watched Orion in the Dark, also like in the airport pre-plane. Fuck off with that movie.
Yeah, bad movie.
It's
Totally
like,
fine movie.
Is that Charlie Kaufman? Is that one? The people
Yeah,
watching that?
Yeah, his animated movie.
It's
Well, he
like-
wrote it. I don't think he directed.
Is it not
it's
good?
like, oh, the Dark's
No, you're
not
right.
that bad. Who cares? No one likes the Dark. Shut up. Shut up. Like, shut up. But yeah, just not a great kids animated movie in my opinion. Not anything I'll ever show to Bailey, and that's kind of like where I'm at determining like kids movies. Am I like gonna like really want to show this to Bailey or not?
You got to start a letterbox list of that. Like anytime you watch
Yeah,
a kids
dude.
movie, to be like,
Dude.
this makes the cut. This doesn't.
He's getting into Bluey now, and I know you guys have never watched Bluey, but maybe you've watched an episode here and there. So good, bangs every time.
I know the soundtrack.
9-minute
I just heard it on
episodes.
TikTok, that's it.
9-minute episodes, like basically everyone makes me almost cry. So good, man. But he's getting into Bluey a lot, so that's
Wait,
absolutely
9-minute episodes?
awesome.
What is it? A cable show or is it like a YouTube series?
It's all on Disney Plus.
Oh, interesting.
I don't
he's
know
good.
if it's
He's good on
actually
that.
on. I don't know if it's actually. I mean, there's like 60 episodes in a season and like 3 seasons. So
A season? Jesus.
yeah, it's. I mean, it's a lot of episodes, but they have their methodology for making them like 8 to 7 minutes. Like, but banger every time.
Did you see the comments on your Orion review. Cam, I'm just looking.
Orion in the dark. Yeah.
Orion, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Oh, and the
Why does
only
that have-
reason they made an Orion, his name Orion, is because they said, I think it was crying or something. They made some joke during the movie that's like, Orion always crying. Like, shut up. That's the only reason they made his name
That's
Orion.
funny.
But yes, I did see the comments. That was pretty funny.
They make me laugh. They're good.
But that's about all. Nothing crazy.
George, what have you been watching this week?
A lot of rewatches. Apocalypse Now, which we'll obviously talk about later this week for our patrons. Victoria and I rewatched Anyone But You last night. Killed a couple of long movies in the hospital. Zack Snyder's Justice League, peak.
Are you gonna give that a 5 anytime soon? I'm sick of seeing you love it at 4.5.
Every time I watch it, I'm like, damn, this is a 5-star movie. And then there's like 1 or 2 scenes that come up, and I'm like, maybe it's not a 5-star movie. So I'm content with my 4.5 right now. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nice.
A couple of first watches too. I watched the Day After Trinity documentary about Oppenheimer. Pretty cool.
Oh, I want to watch that.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool, quick 60 minutes. The Day the Earth Stood Still, the one with Keanu Reeves, didn't really like it. I watched this Bringing Up Baby from 1938, a movie Sophie recommended to me. I didn't give it a rating because it's rated so highly, and I finished the movie, and the first thought I had was that's a 1/2-star movie. So I
would have respected you so much.
I want to give it another watch because I want to give it the benefit of a doubt of not being in a good mood while watching it. But yeah, I fucking hated that movie. But I did not rate it. I watched this movie called Alice in Terrorland because why not?
Why not? Because you spent like $5 on it.
Yeah, why not waste my money on fucking Alice in Terrorland? I kind of wanted you to watch it, all of you. It was kind of funny. I watched the John Carpenter Assault on Precinct 13. It's the second highest rated film on Letterboxd by like average.
Is it?
I've seen 11 Carpenter films. It's my least favorite. I did not. It was so boring.
I haven't seen it.
It was just so boring. It just like it didn't even feel like a John Carpenter film at times. Just like Cam, I illegally streamed Madam Web because it didn't deserve my money, but
don't give them money. Don't give them money.
Yeah, I did not. Bad movie. And yeah, that's about it. Rush Hour I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, the movie. Didn't really love that. But that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much going through everything.
I'm a little pissed off right now because I didn't realize Cosmos and August 32nd on Earth were Denis Villeneuve movies. I didn't see them on Letterboxd, so I didn't watch them, and now I'm really bummed that I didn't. I
didn't watch Cosmos, and I didn't rewatch
it. It's directed by 6 different directors. It's like 6.
That doesn't count.
Direct one.
Okay, that makes me feel better, but I didn't see the damn August 32nd movie.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares?
I wanted to see his whole filmography.
You wouldn't have liked it anyway, Callum. It's all good. I can predict your rating for that one anyway. It's fine.
Is it ass?
I mean,
you have it at 2.5. It sounds like ass.
I liked it better than a couple, but yeah. Seth, what have you been watching?
Amadeus, finally.
Great movie.
Wow. Why did I not watch this sooner? It's like Barry Lyndon, but the same.
I watched that movie months ago, and I immediately said, Seth, watch this fucking movie.
Yeah, it was really just 5-star banger, amazing, loved it, so good. Rewatched The New World, Malik, but not up to a 5 as well. Watched obviously Prisons and Arrival, which we'll speak about. Watched a World War II documentary, which was really good. Watched Demons, George. I know you've seen Demons.
Yeah.
Really, really had a great time with that. It's fucking so dumb, but really had a good time with that. Watched a couple of shorts. Watched Nowhere. Watched Morbius.
Why? Wait,
what? I wanted to. I just put it on the background because I was like, "How bad is this film?" It's pretty bad. I would say though, I actually had a better time with it than I did Madam Web because I thought it was funnier at times. You know,
I'd agree with that.
I think the post-credit scene's hilarious. Like they brought Michael Keaton in there. Oh,
I should have stayed for it.
Yeah. Well, you've seen Spider-Man Homecoming, right?
Wait, what?
You've seen Spider-Man Homecoming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Michael Keaton from. Well, there's 2 post credits. The first one's like him in jail, Vulture, And then the second one is like Vulture flying in to meet Morbius. He's like, we should create a team to stop this
Oh,
Spider-Man.
something to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I don't know
so-
how I got here. It's something to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
All
when
time.
did we speak, Tyler?
We did 6 days ago on
Oh,
Sunday.
we spoke about Elephant City Still. Obviously, I watched. Yeah, forgot about that. Wide Awake, which was it M Night's debut, like a studio debut, whatever. Really, really hated that. And
He doesn't have the sauce.
Midnight.
And then watched Battle Royale 2, which wasn't great. Yeah, that's about it this week. Oh, I watched
Wait, what? Whoa! What? I thought you loved Battle Royale. What are we doing?
2.
Oh.
Not as well. TW.
Okay. My bad.
And then back on. After a little break, back on Twin Peaks now, and nearly finished season 2 of that. Tyler, when you get on season 2, I'll be really intrigued. It's very different at times because Lynch like kind of stepped out for like 6-7 episodes, so basically it becomes just like a soap. It's very weird, some of the choices. But yeah, that's kind of about it this week, I think. Yeah.
Well, I think even season 1 has like soap elements because it's a very
No,
melodramatic.
but it's parody. It's like parody. Like
Mhm.
it turns into like an actual, not like a play on soap, like a soap.
Mhm.
Some of the choices are like so generic and kind of mainstream. They really don't stick with Lynch's style, which obviously is very hard to do.
Yeah.
And then he kind of just comes back in. But I'm at the bit where he's like coming back in now. It's really weird, but yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on season 2, but yeah, I'll get into it. It's a lot longer than season 1, so I've been putting it off.
Yeah, it is.
Season 1's kind of easy to crank out because
It's
like
like 18 episodes, like 10 more episodes, isn't it?
Yep.
Which is like a lot.
All right, yeah, I've watched a ton this week. So finished off kind of like the latest Best Actor and Best Actress movies. So watched 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Yeah, it was fine. I know Seth hates it, but I was like, yeah, it wasn't great.
I hate it.
You guys are such. That movie is so good.
So shit. I have this
movie is
argument with my own
good.
mother all the time, George. She
I'm
loves
on,
this shit.
I'm
I
on
hate
your
it.
mom's side. Put us in a group chat, dude. I'll smoke you.
Yeah, I gave it a 3 stars, so I liked it. Then I watched Room, liked that a lot more. Brie Larson, so good.
Which
when
Room?
she's actually in a
Okay.
good when she's actually in a good project. And then Jacob Tremblay, like one of the best like child acting performances. It's good to see he's still in the industry. Watched Judy, shit movie.
2016 though.
2015.
Room?
Room? Yeah, what about it?
You said good to see he's still in the industry. That was like
He
8
did
years
Luca.
ago.
He did Luca, which is a banger.
You just mean like now.
Yeah, I mean-
I thought you were talking like Room, like good to see he's in Room, like in the industry still.
No, like I mean, that was 10 years ago when it was filmed, and he's still in like he was like in the
Yeah,
Little
yeah, I
Mermaid.
see what you're saying now.
yeah.
I thought you were talking
I
about
also thought the
Room
same
as
with
like,
Cam.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah, I was like,
what?
Room was
He's
ages ago.
No,
he's
yeah, I
the
mean,
lead voice actor in Orion in the Dark.
yeah, they were thinking differently then. I think they were thinking, yeah,
Interesting.
Is
that-
he really? I didn't even get that.
He's in like Doctor Sleep as well.
yeah. He's a big in the well, he was Little Mermaid. He was
Yeah, hell
he's,
yeah.
he's in other stuff too. But Judy was ass. Blue Jasmine, awesome. Love that Kate Blanchett performance.
watching that.
So different than what like I don't know. Just showed so much range in that because it's like comedic while also like her classic drama self. Still Alice. Didn't all work for me.
What's still Alice?
It's what Julianne Moore won her Oscar for. It's similar
These films don't exist, man. I've never fucking heard
It's
of
similar
these
to The
films.
Father. I'm way lower on it than most people. It's about a woman kind of losing her mind with early dementia, and I just feel like I might have liked it more if I saw it before I saw The Father, but it just didn't all work for me. And then watched Burn After Reading, and I don't know. The Coens, I still continue to be so hot and cold on. I think I just kind of hate them when they do comedy because it just isn't good for me. So I think Driveway Dolls I'm probably gonna hate, to be honest, but
Yeah,
we'll
it's not a
see.
great-
I've
Just one
seen-
of them, to be fair.
Yeah, it's the worst of the two, so I already knew I was probably gonna hate it. But watch a couple of George Méliès shorts. Watch so on our Patreon we do film raffles, which is we all kind of grab a ticket on Thursday, and then they have like a program that just randomly assigns people. So basically, each week a different patron will recommend a different patron a movie, and then you'll send a recommendation out to another patron. I've had a backlog of like 7 for a long time, so I've been starting to crank through those. Still have like 4 left, but they're all international films, which usually means I'm gonna have to wait until like, you know, I could really sit in and focus 100%, not even 99% of my attention, because you know you need subtitles obviously, and you don't want to miss anything. So got through all the English ones. So The Place Beyond the Pines, really love that movie. Ryan Gosling, just yeah, he always looks great. You can throw face tattoos, neck tattoos on him, he still looks like just an absolute prince. And then Bradley Cooper, also great. Watch Wildlife, which is a Jake Gyllenhaal, Carey Mulligan film, Paul Dano's directorial debut from 2018. Really like that one as well. That was also another patron recommendation. And another patron recommendation was Synecdoche, New York.
Oh man, yeah, I need to
Yeah,
watch that.
5-star for me. Love that movie. That's why I'm interested to watch Orion in the Dark, because I tend to enjoy Charlie Kaufman. At least I really love Synecdoche,
Have you
New York,
seen
and
I'm Thinking of Ending Things?
yeah, I really love that one as well. I think it's
Okay.
like a 4.5
Yeah.
star for me. So, yeah, both those have been great. Apocalypse Now, which we'll be talking about on Friday for the patrons, and then just a lot of Denis Villeneuve, just cranking through all of his filmography that I still haven't seen. Relogged Enemy for the first, logged it for the first time, but watched it for the first time in like 10 years. And then watched One from the Heart, which is Francis Ford Coppola's musical from 1981. I liked it. I think it's one of the prettiest films I've ever seen. Like the production and it just visuals are absolutely beautiful. But in terms of a musical, I like something that I can kind of get catchy songs with, and then there was just none to be had here. And there's really only like one musical number anyway, so it's hardly even a musical, but it's more just kind of a drama with musical elements. But anything in Vegas, I love the setting, all the lights, the casinos, good time. But yeah, then yesterday was just a ton of Denis Villeneuve, which with watching his movies and watching his short films. But yeah, which will kind of segue us into going through his entire filmography. So Denis Villeneuve obviously has Dune Part 2 coming out. March 1st is the official release date. Going to be one of our most anticipated movies, probably of this entire decade for everyone here on the pod.
Ever.
We're all, we're all insanely excited.
One more sleep, folks. One more sleep.
How dare you?
My
Are you
God.
seeing it tomorrow as well?
7 for
Yeah,
Seth.
Seth, you're not.
No, I'm seeing it like a week.
Do you want me to
Before the
FaceTime
How are
next
you?
you
pod?
seeing it? Come, how are you seeing it?
Dude, it's just like AMC.
Yeah, AMC has an
Wow.
early
It's
fan
not
release.
like a...
Well,
Because I'm
so
big time,
nice.
Seth. That's fucking why. They called me up and said, Timmy needs you. Come see this fucking movie, man.
No, there's no like early ones here. It's really annoying, man. They're doing
Are you seeing it before the next pod?
yeah, I've seen it on Friday.
Okay, cool.
They're doing
Not you, man.
what do you call it? They're doing like I haven't seen, this is the first film I've seen in a while do midnight screenings near me on the release day.
Oh, like actual
I haven't
midnight?
I haven't seen that in like since people
do they
did it for,
not do like
Endgame.
do they not do like 7 p.m. screenings on Thursdays? They do, right?
No, because that's not our date, is it? That's your because it's
they-
like
they
they
do
No,
that for
all of
us.
our dates are like the Friday that it releases, but basically every movie comes out like the night before.
Oh no, I thought
Interesting.
no,
No,
we
yeah.
just do it like it's like if it comes out on the is it the first?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll come out on the first.
Right.
At literally like 12:01 a.m. They're doing like screens, but it's the first
Wow.
one I've seen since like Infinity War and stuff, where people
Yeah.
were going, at midnight and stuff, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
Dude,
Well,
it's gonna
we're
be
all
cool.
looking forward to it. And obviously next week we'll be going heavy talking about Dune Part 2. But for this week, we're going to go through Denis' entire filmography, starting from the front to the back. So how we're going to do it is similar to how we did M. Night all those years ago or months ago, where we're just going to go front to back from his entire filmography. And then at the very end, we will do our actual ranking, each of us from, least favorite to favorite. But for now, we're just going to talk about the film in chronological order. So he kind of started his career with Cosmos, which we kind of talked about right before the pod. It's a kind of collection of 6 short films, but they're a lot more connected than normal. So it's an immigrant cabbie connects nervous filmmaker, lawyer, mystery man, possible HIV plus gay man, positive gay man, comedy and tragedy mingle, awash in philosophy. So it's 6 different directors that kind of do all these different segments of one 90-minute film that's all kind of connected through this cabbie, but I don't know. It wasn't as stark as I would have expected. It's not like a segment happens and it like cuts to black and then a title screen hits the next one. It flows seamlessly. You never would really guess watching it that it's 6 stark directors. It flows a lot nicer, and I liked it. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one up here that's seen it. It's not as obviously full Denis Villeneuve, but that's kind of where he started in 1996 before his directorial debut in 1998. August 32nd on Earth. I believe Seth and I are the only ones who've seen it.
No, I think George has seen it.
I saw it. I wanted to rewatch it for the pod, but I
gotcha.
haven't seen it in such a long time.
All right, so August 32nd on Earth. Let me pull up the synopsis here. So this is 1998 when he does his full feature-length directorial debut. After surviving a car wreck virtually unscathed, a young model compels her best friend to impregnate her in the salt flats of Utah. We'll start off with Seth. Seth, what's your kind of thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, not many. I watched this like probably like just under a year ago when I was finishing off his filmography. I think that it is fine. It has, artistic vision. I would compare it to like my thoughts on it. I would compare it to like Nolan's debut actually with Following. Were they like the same year as well? I
Yeah.
think.
98, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, interesting. So, wow, they really are on a similar trajectory, just in everything, aren't they? It's kind of weird. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's got like the artistic vision's there. I think that it kind of is mastered this kind of simple romance, but it is profound. I just think it's kind of boring. It's kind of dull. It's kind of my main complaint with it. I just wasn't that interested with everything that was going on. There were some really cool shots like the desert and stuff, and I think it kind of has that. It's smaller scale, obviously, but you can see kind of the future and what Denis can achieve with it, similar to like what I said with Nolan's Following. But it's just kind of boring. There was nothing really there that I could latch on to a lot of the time. And when there was cool moments, they were like few and far between. Are we saying ratings now, or do you want to say them after? Like, what do you want to do? Because I think like it's like a spoiler if we say ratings now and then.
Yeah, that works. We can just talk general.
Yeah, I mean,
about the movie.
I don't really like it. I mean, I don't hate it. I'll just say that, but I didn't really like it. It's nothing that I could really latch onto and like many of his films. And it also, even though I don't think it's as simplistic as it seems on the surface, I don't actually find the actual themes of it that interesting and how they're presented. Because there's other films that we're going to speak about that Denis done soon, which are early on in his career, like Polytechnique, like Maelstrom, where even though some of it went over my head and I didn't really like, it was something I could actually have a conversation about and be interested in.
Mhm.
But this one, not so much.
George, any thoughts on August 32nd on Earth?
Honestly, not really. It's been so long since I've watched this movie.
Mhm.
More so just like crazy to see like he and Nolan have had like a very similar trajectory in film, and it's kind of
Oh,
fucking
And they're
wild.
buddies
same
now.
age.
Yeah, and they're fucking
buddies.
boys.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
fellas together right now, doing all
Yeah,
this
but
press tour and everything.
Yeah,
I
Denis
don't
is
have
like
much to say.
57, I think. I don't know. Christopher Nolan.
56. So there's 3 years between them. So they're like, it's pretty
Fucking
interesting.
dudes.
How old's Nolan? 59 or 53?
53.
Oh, okay. Young guy.
Yeah, he's pretty young.
Yeah, but they got decades to go still if they want to. But yeah, for me, August 32nd on Earth, like Seth said, I think there's more that meets the eye. It just wasn't the most captivating. I gave it a 3-star. I guess that's kind of a spoiler, but I have a lot of stuff tied down there. So it doesn't really say the order. But yeah, very, very pretty movie. I think Denis Villeneuve's directorial skills have been apparent from the beginning. It's the classic. Like I feel like everyone's had this like I don't know. You've heard about this story time and time again, where it's like people are like, oh, if we're both single, like best friends, guy and girl, the classic friend zone situation. Like, oh, if we're both single and don't have kids in our 30s, then we're gonna meet up and we're gonna start a family of our own. Wonder if anyone actually follows through on that, like normal people, if they actually do that, because I feel like that's the story as old as time of a dude that's in the friend zone heavy that tries to cope by saying like, like if we're still single in 12 years when we're long past high school, then we'll get back together and have kids. But yeah, I just think with the car accident with Philippe at the very end, kind of getting bludgeoned. With the dates going from August 32nd to August 38th, which obviously are just like not real dates. They find like a dead body. The desert just looks super clean and pristine. I think it could be, more spiritual and, they could just be dead the whole time. There's more purgatory or something like that. But yeah, I think there's more here that I just didn't fully grasp onto, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It's a tight about 80 minutes, so it's a quick watch, but yeah, nothing crazy there from his directorial debut, but he followed that up 2 years later with Maelstrom, which is about a woman after plunging her car into a river. A woman encounters a man who helps her come to terms with her life. This I feel like is now after seeing his entire filmography, I feel like this is probably his most art house film. Definitely weird in a lot of ways. I mean, you have like a talking fish literally narrating the film, and it's a grotesque talking fish. Just a weird movie. I'll start this one. So who's all seen this one? I know Seth and I have.
We've all seen this.
We all have. Cam,
Yeah.
we're going to start with you on this one. What's your thoughts on Maelstrom? If that's
Yeah.
how we pronounce it correctly. The way to
Maelstrom.
pronounce things is you just charge fearlessly into the pronunciation and no one will question it.
Maelstrom.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I gave this one a good chance, to be honest, because I think like last night, and I knew it was like a foreign film, so I knew I'd have to pay attention a lot, but I was like kind of thinking, all right, I'll throw this on, sit down and do some laundry while I watch it. I don't think I gave it a fair chance. I just didn't care for it. I was bored the whole time. I didn't think any of the performances were like anything to write home about. I thought this was Denny, in my opinions, like least good directed film. Like I didn't love Polytechnique, which we'll talk soon, but I think like Denny directed the shit out of that thing. Still, this one I definitely think he, like you said, he did try to take a more art house approach. Some things worked, some things didn't. Like the whatever Molly scene or whatever she was on in the club, I was like, I just don't think this is Denny's vibe, or at least maybe that it was, but it's not anymore. I don't know, but I didn't think it worked as well. Um, it just, I don't know, wasn't for me. And like, I knew if I posted a 1.5, I'd get shit on. Sorry, I guess I spoiled that. I'd get shit on Letterboxd, so I just put like not enough Avengers in this. Uh, that was my review, but I don't know. I just didn't care for like almost any moment in this. I think there's some interesting things, like the idea of like grief and coping with. We're spoiling, right? Like it's not this isn't a big spoiler.
No, yeah.
Grief, coping with someone who's like you killed their father, right? So that's like a really interesting concept, I think, but I didn't personally care for the movie as a whole. Not a whole lot to say on it. Other than I was just bored, to be honest. Wasn't for me.
Yeah, I think that's the highest on this one, but for me, it's just it was fine. I didn't find myself gripped by it. I found myself a little more into the vibe of August 32nd on Earth. Maelstrom is obviously a very, very different vibe than that. It's a lot darker. It's coping with grief and guilt, especially. It's the third act, I think, is kind of what bought me in. So there's like a scene in a coffee shop, and then from there on till the end of the movie, I think I was the most into. But the first two acts just failed to grip me into it. Very weird, like the fish just super odd and grotesque, and yeah, I don't know. I just came away from this thing like, this is kind of like the most art house I feel like Denis Villeneuve went, and it just didn't fully click for me. And yeah, I know Seth, you're the highest on it of us three, and George, I see is still in your watch list. Seth, what's your thoughts on Maelstrom?
Yeah, I kind of like it. I will say that I kind of agree that I think throughout the kind of middle range, it's tonally quite all over the place. But I like it because I think not only is it an exploration of mortality and grief, which I always tend to like thematically, and it's stuff that interests me. I think it's weird, it's surreal, with the talking fish, very Cronenberg-esque with the design, which is interesting. Tyler, you'll know, is a massive crone head, as we used to say.
The big guy.
Big crone head. But I think that not only is it kind of strange and surreal, but it's also kind of grounded in reality and then kind of relatable within its themes of regret and grief. And I think that it's unlike, it's very much Denis' kind of art house film. Very much took a plunge with this one, and I think it's admirable because I think it is ambitious. It's weird. It's the sort of stuff I usually quite like anyway. I actually do think some of the shots in this are really cool, and contrary to Calm, I actually think that I don't know her name. The lead, the lead was actually really good. I really liked her performance a lot. I think she was great.
Good.
Yeah, totally all over the place a bit. It's not something I'm crazy about by any means, but I did have a pretty decent time with it. And I think the ending, the final act is by far, like Tyler said, the best thing about the film, and really manages to pull you in. Because in the middle, it does get a bit like, what's even going on? But yeah, I like it. I think it's strange, surreal, but also grounded and realistic, which I tend to appreciate. And it has themes that actually interest me, unlike August 32nd on Earth. So yeah, I liked it. It's not that I'm crazy about by any means, but I thought it was good.
And
I will say,
go ahead.
Sorry. No, I will say, like, directing has its give and takes as like a career, because you have to do it till you're like 80, or you don't have to, but like Francis Ford Coppola is still pushing out movies. What's he, like 89? But also Denny goes on a 9-year break here. I would work till I was 80 or 90 if I could take a 9-year break in my career. Like I would do that in my
I was just thinking
20s or 30s.
I mean, he
Just
had
see
his
when it
share
came
of
out,
short
yeah.
films in that time.
That's fair, but short
And
films.
I'm sure he was
how's
writing
that-
a lot.
He's probably writing his next movies, which I think, and again, I didn't watch Cosmos or August 32nd on Earth, but from the description that you guys give or from your reviews, I think like there's a clear jump in Denny's output and just like quality of movie from
That's what he spent 9 years doing.
That may be true. Maybe true. He's like, I'm going to write fucking Prisoners.
It is a crazy jump, though, because even including the shorts, like, so Maelstrom was 2000, which came right out the back of August 32nd on Earth in 1998, which Cosmos 2 years before that. So a pretty standard director timeline. And then his next short gets released 6 years later in 2006, 120 Seconds to Get Elected. quick 2-minute film with Alexis Martin reunited with him from August
That's
32nd on Earth.
not like you can't count that as work. That's just
No,
to
that's what
say
I'm
you're
saying. Like,
not
it's crazy.
unemployed.
Yeah.
A
Two
2-minute film, you can't count that.
Yeah,
as work.
and it's just Alexi Martin giving a speech, trying to win over a crowd to get elected, and just kind of a critique on obviously how politicians just say whatever they want. Like they hear booing in the crowd, they're like, oh shit, I gotta change my, gotta start saying something to get them cheered, and then just make up shit until the crowd loves you to get elected. And then obviously, as we all see with all politicians, they get elected based on promises, and then don't do anything there. And then a year after that, he did Happiness Bound, which was a documentary that I think is the one thing none of us have seen. And then a year after that is Next Floor, which is a short that I think me, Seth, and George all logged, and me and George logged. But that's like, so 120 seconds to get elected is like, a 2-minute, just like kind of like a fun speech that was edited together. Whereas Next Floor is like a true short film, like 10 minutes long, like production value is pretty high in it. That's like a, kind of what you more think of when you think of a short film, not just like a 2-minute of a guy giving a speech. But I don't know. We don't really have to go into the shorts, but Next Floor came out. I liked it. I think we all kind of liked it. I don't know. You guys don't rate your short films, but
it was like it was fine. I think it was fine. Like it's very, on the nose, just allegory for overindulgence. But okay, it kind of works because it's kind of just disgusting and weird. And yeah, it's a very kind of a bit more high prediction than those other ones, like you said. I thought it was fine.
Mhm.
Nothing,
Did you guys ever
crazy about it.
watch that Netflix Spanish movie Platform?
Platform.
Or The Platform?
Platform.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
what the
this
shit
is like,
kind of reminded me
yeah,
of.
platform mixed with like The Menu.
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
like
banger.
thematically, because it's like so obvious, but it's so obvious what it means as well. I think, yeah, Platform's interesting. Maybe I should revisit that. I haven't seen that since it came out. I haven't really thought about that film at all.
I think Platform 2 is
Not
coming
great,
out,
but it's
so.
not bad.
Yeah,
Platform
Platform
2
2
is coming out. There's
Yeah,
more
yeah.
platforms.
Shit, crazy.
It's now like there's also like there's floor. It's just a building. There's like different rooms. It's just a building.
So that brings us to, so now he started his career kind of in 1996, and now that brings us all the way up to 2009. So through then we had 2 feature films, 1 collaboration, and then a couple of shorts. So 1996 to 2009, 13 years, not a ton of output, but now we're starting to get to the point where it's just more popular films in terms of what people are watching. Polytechnique came out in 2009, based on the real massacre at the École Polytechnique Engineering School in Montreal in the 80s. Let me make sure I got that date right. Yes, in the 80s. Yeah, so real massacre that happened. I wasn't familiar with it, but it was a landmark in Canada, spearheaded a lot of gun reform and gun control as a result. Also, police training was a big
Maybe
thing
we
as
should
well.
learn a little from that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think Canada, obviously every country's steps still to go, but yeah, America's done nothing other than thoughts and prayers every time it happens. But yeah, Polytechnique, the actual massacre led to some gun reform, led to a lot of police training on how to handle these situations, because in the late 1900s, school shootings were just like not nearly as common as they are today. It was really the Polytechnique one for Canada being the landmark one, and then Columbine in America. And a lot had to be trained for police and how they react, and not just creating a perimeter, but actually going in and dealing with things. But it was a man who left a manifesto basically of how much he hates feminists, and he goes to an engineering school where he feels women don't belong, feels like they're just kind of leeches on the system, and ends up just going on a rampage. And for about 15 minutes, he was just completely unbothered by police or any security. And I want to get this number right. So how many, what the victim total was, but I believe it was 14. And then there's a lot more injured, obviously, as well. And then he took his own life. And it's just a film, kind of the recreation of that. Also, two of the people that were involved in it ended up taking their own lives a couple of years after due to guilt and, survivor's guilt and trauma as a result. So very heavy, impactful subject matter this is tackling. It was being produced by this woman named Karine Vanasse, who was very passionate about what happened in this project and trying to bring it to the screen. And then she ultimately was able to get Denis Villeneuve attached. So it wasn't really a passion project of him from the get-go. Obviously, as a Canadian, he's very passionate about it, but he was kind of attached as the director in the later stages. The school offered them, said they could film on location if they wanted to, but Denis turned that down out of respect. But yeah, in terms of feel like movies like this are always kind of near impossible to make, because I mean, I even feel that way about war films in general. It's just like it's kind of hard to make films without glorifying things or without dramatizing things or trying to, you know, make a buck or win an award off of something that was so terrible in many people's lives. But at least from the research in this film, it sounds like, you know, Corinne Vanasse, who produced this, is really the families of the victims were very involved in the production of this movie, as well as the surviving ones, which is something like the Dahmer Netflix series from last year can't say. You know, they just produced it without even addressing the families. So, you know, you at least like to see something like that. But yeah, we'll get into our thoughts. I believe we've all seen this one. George, I know you don't have it rated, but it says you've watched it, so it's probably been a bit. But Seth, what are your thoughts on Polytechnique?
Yeah, I don't know. So I watched this about same 8 9 months ago. So the more I think about this film, the less I like it. To be honest, I know I have it a 3-star, and that's not like I don't know. It's tough because it's hard to speak about a film like this, especially when you don't. I had no idea about this like tragedy before watching it, and also when I say I like it less than I did when I first watched it. It's not really a case where I don't think it was told with sincerity, because I think it's a bit different. You know, like you said, the family were all involved. I think it was kind of a group thing where it wasn't just told out of the pointlessness of it. But I also think that these sort of films I struggle with a lot of times because I don't really see the point of them making them. I think that there's some really like amazing work in this, like visually. I think some of the shots in this are like insane. But I think I don't know. It's always going to be, when it comes to real events, like Tyler said, even if it's a war film, a massacre, a public massacre like this, it's a tough balancing act between, you know, how to manage it with sincerity, and I don't know. And even though I think that was the goal, it's just not really a film I think needed to be made. And again, what film needs to be made? But I don't know what this told more than the things that everyone already knew about it, and I don't know if that should be relived for a lot of people. But again, you know, it's not like something. There's a lot of films of this nature where I think are actually distasteful, and I don't really think this is. But at the same time, I just don't really think it's a film for me, so I might drop my rating, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's really well made. Just not really something that I think should be tackled. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I really struggle with that in general for all films. Like even like Schindler's List, like, does that need to be made? The Zone of Interest, did that need to be made? Because then in fact, like, because I know the Zone of Interest is like the classic, like, you know, showing that, you know, we shouldn't be glorifying these things and making them into consumption for entertainment. But at the same time, like, it's going to be winning awards. It's making money. So at the end of the day, like, you can say all you want, like, look at these other films that are glorifying stuff. They're terrible. But at the end of the day, you're making money. You all got paid out of making a movie out of this tragedy. So it's like, I don't know, like Zone of Interest, Schindler's List, anything about a war, anything about tragedy. It's always tough for me. I always think about it. And after watching this, it made me reflect a lot about just like every film about like real life tragedy. Like, did it need to be made? And like you said, I know, Seth, does anything need to be made? But what's the point, I guess, at the end of the day? And I think a lot of it has to do with intention and what the outcome comes. And all you can hope for at the end of the day is that it keeps spurring conversation going forward. I know Canada's had obviously school shootings since the actual events that happened. A big one, I believe, in 2006 as well. So this came out in 2009. So maybe, you know, they're trying to reignite that conversation and remind people of something like from the 80s that was kind of a landmark in their country that didn't seem like they learned enough from. So yeah, all you want is at least if they can spur conversation again, then great. But yeah, it's just always weird with anything about real life events in general. Like, are you just kind of dramatizing and glorifying things that happen just for views and for awards and for money? But Cam, what are your thoughts on Polytechnique?
I enjoyed it more than like everyone. I only have like 3 mutuals that I've watched it, or 4, but other than George, I guess, who just doesn't have it rated. But I have the highest rated. I enjoyed it. Not enjoyed it, you know, for the most part, but I did think it was made with the right intentions. And I also looked up like after, like, how involved were the like people affected by this, because I think that is a big it probably shouldn't be like a criteria for a movie that I look into, but I think it's like an important part of the movie. Like, the Dahmer series is a good series. Like, if you watch it for pure entertainment, yeah, it's a good series that's interesting. But then again, you mentioned that like none of the families like approved of this in any way. Like, that's kind of fucked up. That like that is 100% made for like entertainment of like, look how fucked up this guy is, you know? Whereas this, I feel like, is made with a lot more heart and soul, and it's definitely like produced with care and is sympathetic to those families and everything. And so I appreciate that about it. And I saw a lot of reviews that were like, Denis Villeneuve shouldn't have been the person to make this because he's a guy. And this is not about what's anti-feminist, misogynist. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word right now. Yeah. About a misogynist. But like, I think that's just like, honestly, like fucked up to say like about, like, I don't think anyone really, unless clearly they didn't get approval from the family and they're just like, I'm going to make this fucking movie. Like, he clearly had a intent to make this with care and had approval. And like Tyler mentioned, like, this wasn't his passion project. He was asked to come on this project because he can make it maybe a little bit more technically sound than some other director could. And that will, in tune, like if you see a highly rated movie on Letterboxd or on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, it will in tune get more people to watch it, get more eyes on this tragedy. Because this is not something I knew about like at all before this. I didn't know anything about this movie before watching it. I just kind of turned it on and started watching. And I was like, what the fuck, like it just started out like, what the fuck am I watching? Because I didn't read anything about it, but it's good for people like me to learn, like not like I didn't know what was going on during it or anything. I will say it's an hour and 15 minutes long. I definitely think it was told a little bit oddly in the sense that it focuses a lot on the shooter, and I would have preferred, and maybe that's where people's gripes come from. I think it could have, give it 15 more minutes focusing on the victims. And that's still an hour and 30 movie. That is not like long at all. That was probably my biggest gripe about it. And then just, I don't think I was in the mindset to watch this like heartbreaking of a tragedy. I thought also, I was confused for a sec. I thought Denny started making English films with what was his first? It was Prisoners. I thought Prisoners was his first like English language film. Polytechnique was apparently.
I mean, it's like half. There's also just not much dialogue in general.
There's not much dialogue, but like I thought I was like watching a subbed version or something, or a dubbed version. I mean, and I'm like, am I watching the right thing right now? Because I was fully expecting.
Well, did yours have any French in it?
Not that I remember. Maybe some.
There's definitely French in mine.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I watched it on Tubi or whatever. Like it was I don't know where you guys watched it, but I was like, am I watching the right fucking movie?
So I mean, at the end of the day, he's French in terms of the sense of it, French Canadian. So and all these are Canadian films. So it's like, exactly. It's like half and half in that country. So.
Exactly. But that was one of the biggest things I thought about afterwards, other than the tragedy, was like, did I watch the right movie?
Did you watch it, Doug? I'm actually thinking.
I don't know. Everything, like all of the like,
I remember.
I looked because all of the mouths were lining up. So he would have had to record these actors like saying these words. It wasn't like a dubbed version, but it was like I thought it was supposed to be in French or something, but I don't know. I watched an English movie, man. So who knows? Maybe I didn't get the full.
I actually don't remember any English in it because I know August 32nd on Earth.
No, the whole thing was English.
I like to think now. I'm like,
August 32nd on Earth, they like travel to Utah, so there's like some English speaking in it. But,
travel.
But
I watched this shit on Tubi, man. What are you doing to me, Tubi?
I don't know. Interesting. Also, so last in the Real Patreon last week, I mentioned Fandor, which is like a streaming service through Amazon, which I got a free trial through, which I was able to watch an elephant sitting still. I was praising it because I was like, oh, it's cheap and it's got some good stuff. It's kind of screw Fandor because it has both August 32nd on Earth, Maelstrom, and Cosmos. Has all three of them. No subtitles, only French subtitles. So I'm like, what are we doing here? This is worthless to me. So, but they all were available on other platforms. I had to rent a couple and. Cosmos, I think, is on YouTube for free, but yeah.
I mean, it says it's directed by Denis Villeneuve. I don't know what movie I watched though, man. It was not in French.
Well, I mean, you definitely watched the right movie.
No, you watched the film. Yeah. You clearly, there's not going to be another film that's exactly the same as you suggested. I think you might have watched. You might have watched it, Doug.
George, how long has it been since you watched it? Do you have any thoughts on it, or has it been too long?
It actually hasn't been a long time. I think it was like a year ago. Or maybe even before Dune Part 1 came out, where I did like a complete sweep through Denis' filmography. I kind of removed my rating not too long ago, just kind of for all the points that like you guys bring up, where it's like, it's nice, like he got the families involved and everything, but it's still like a weird film to like look at and analyze and like say that I enjoyed.
Giving a rating, I think, is weird in general. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's a
Trying
weird
to
film.
engage.
Same with like I've been considering like taking my rating away from the zone of interest until I rewatch it. Like they're just weird
Yeah.
films to like
Yeah.
look at and give ratings. I think from a direction standpoint, this is like Denis' entire career has just been like taking fat risks left and right, and this was just the biggest one. This could have easily folded his career, I think. Um, Obviously, thankfully, it did not. I think he approached it very well, and then he goes on the craziest run of like 7 films I've ever seen. Um, but yeah, I don't really have any more to add to the discourse outside of what you guys said. But from a direction standpoint, this still feels like Denis is kind of like he still feels like a very young filmmaker trying to find himself, kind of trying to like understand his filmmaking tactics. And it's not until Incendies where I think he really kind of breaks out of that shell, which we're about to get into.
Did you watch it in French or English, George? That's the question.
It's good discourse, man.
That's an all-time ReelTok moment.
Dude, I
Yeah.
swear to God, this entire movie was in English. Like, I'm not kidding. I was
Yeah.
like, there are some French moments, like maybe 1 or 2, but
No, that's wild. Because anyone who saw my Letterboxd diary, I watched it.
what'd you guys watch it on?
I can't. Mine might have been Tubi. Also, I can't.
think
I
mine
think
was
I think I
through- I
rented
think
it
I-
through Amazon actually.
And it's
think I
all the
rented
same
from-
actors.
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
I don't know, because I watched so many yesterday that I couldn't keep them all together in my head. So I was like, yeah, one had like half English, half French. And as you kept talking, I was like, no, that was August 32nd on Earth. That was like half in English and half in French. So,
Half
yeah,
in French.
I don't remember any English in Polytechnique, but
Shit. All right.
good for you.
Long-timer.
Cameron. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hilarious. Like I thought Prisoners was his first English language film, but Polytechnique.
And we're like, yeah.
Yeah, Polytechnique.
I was like, when he
100%
started that, I'm like,
in English.
where's he going with the sentence? Where's this gonna end up? I have no clue. But yeah, it's also like tough with movies like these because you watch it, and this isn't just Polytechnique, but anytime it's about like a tragedy, and you're just like, you look at it and you almost critique like the actions of the people. It's like how accurate was it to what the people did? Because like I know when I watched this, I like wanted to Google right away how it all went down because I was like, first off, I was like police response, like where the hell like is anyone? And then I was like, man, like it's just impossible. These situations like this are impossible to know what you would do in that situation. Thankfully, none of us have had to be in a situation unless you guys have been hiding something from me where you're part of a mass shooting. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like, you kind of like are like trying to yell at your TV screens, like, God, all of you just try and like rush at him at once and tackle him or something because he's just kind of going. And it's just tough when you do stuff like this because like then you're just going to be watching and critiquing what happened. It's like, how accurate was it?
Yeah.
So, but right after that, so what's weird too is this is like produced and written by a bunch of people. Like there's like 4 different writers attached. Denis on there, but he wasn't there till the very end. And they said they attached him as director because of the success of Maelstrom, and kind of similar to what we were talking about earlier. It's like that was like 9 years ago, so it's like, and he had really no work between then, so it's like kind of odd that they're like, we got this perfect film, let's grab this guy who we loved his film from 9 years ago who hasn't done anything since, and grab him for it. But right after this, a year later, is Incendies. I want to talk about it briefly, but I do want to point people to real quick episode 13. But we'll talk a little more because it's been a long time.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. Episode
first-
Yeah, it's great.
13.
First one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing one at
the
a
first
time,
real
though.
quick review, but yeah, go watch that. It'll be linked in the description down below. We talk a lot longer and in depth, but since time's gone by, we'll talk a little more. But I just want to say let's try and point people to that real quick. Since we did talk a full episode on Sunday, but we'll go briefly through it. So George, since I feel like I've been hearing you talk the least, we'll jump into you quickly.
Yeah, this is where people start taking Denis seriously.
Yeah,
This
for
is
sure.
kind of where, like I said,
Hey!
we break. Not, you know what I mean. Seriously, as like one of the
You
most
didn't like
prolific
any of the
films-
last 5 movies. Seth.
Yeah,
like you
exactly.
didn't love them.
Did you listen to anything I said about
You
Maelstrom?
said, I liked them. It's nothing great. Like,
Yeah, I did like
Did
it.
no,
So
okay.
that's-
Without the success of Incendies, I don't think Denis goes on to have as prolific of a
Seth,
career
you know,
as-
Incendies is a different level.
Yeah, it's on
is this
another
his
level.
highest rated?
Both-
Did we say that?
I think
On
it
his-
is.
It is.
Dune might be
Really?
now.
Yeah, George,
Fuck yeah, dude.
this is really
Wow,
interesting.
yeah, this is his highest rated.
Yeah.
George,
we
continue. I
talked
don't want to interrupt, but I do want to bring that up actually because it is interesting.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at like his highest rated films, that's crazy. But yeah, no, the biggest thing to point out, this is where people started to take him seriously as one of the most prolific filmmakers working today, a filmmaker who can tackle psychological tension anywhere, whether it's within war. He's gone on to prove himself in cartel stuff, in science fiction. This is where people started to take his science fiction filmmaking, his psychological filmmaking seriously. He proved that he is more than capable of taking any screenplay that is thrown in his lap and turning it into just the most profound and jaw-dropping experience that you could possibly have. Incendies may not be as conceptually bold as Blade Runner or Dune or Arrival, but it is one of the most devastating portraits of war that I think we've ever seen. Like Tyler said, real quick, episode 13, I remember that as being one of our longer real quicks because I know we all four have it at, do we all four have it at a 4.5 out of 5 or above? I'm pretty sure.
I don't anymore, unfortunately.
Well, you should. You're wrong.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I'll end my rent there. This is, like I said, this is just legitimately. I think this kickstarts like the greatest 7-film run in any filmmaker's career. About to be 8 when Dune 2 drops,
and then could be 9 when Dune 3 drops.
And it could be 9 when Dune 3, could be 10 when Rendezvous with Rama drops.
And then Cleopatra, like who knows? You got a lot of stuff cooking. But Seth, what's your thoughts on Incendies? And you moved it down a bit, so anything?
Yeah, there's only one reason for that, to be honest. I think it's a really, really good film. I think it's really great. Obviously, like I said, like Tyler said, we did a half an hour review on it over a year ago. That's insane. It feels so much like closer. Yeah, I think it's haunting. I think it's powerful. I think it's handled with care and in the right way, just through sequences of uncertainty. It's thrilling. It's a deeply, deeply visceral and emotional experience where we follow, this woman on just such a horrific journey. It really showcases in the light of things that are happening in the real world that a lot of people just aren't really familiar with. The only thing that made me drop this, and again, it's not dropping it 4, it's still a 4 star. I still think it's a really, really good film. I just don't really like the concept of the twist. This, which isn't saying no, hear me out. It's not saying that the twist is bad. I think the twist is done like really well, like not at all. For me, the twist kind of cheapens it a little bit in terms of the film because of kind of what we go through in the film.
I think it's you can go so many different directions within like a war film, and I think this is one of those like twisty moments that you could have asked me to predict this movie 1,000 times or predict where it was going to go, and I genuinely would have never predicted that.
I agree. I agree.
I think it's just that from that perspective, and just Denis building this, like the entire movie kind of feels like you're elevating yourself on like a roller coaster, and that twist hits and it just takes off, and you're kind of just like sitting there. It doesn't matter how many times I watch this movie, my jaw is just on the floor every single time because I just think it's, one, such a testament to the screenplay, and 2, such a testament to Denis' directing ability and how he was able to translate that screenplay to the big screen and make this an effective twist.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it's not. I don't think the actual twist itself or the ending is done badly at all. I think it works really, really well. I just don't like it within the context of the rest of the story, to be honest. But I still think it's good. And I think it's a really, really good film. Obviously, I was about to say where I rank it, but I won't say that yet.
No spoilers.
Need to rewatch it though, because I haven't watched it in a while since we did our last episode. Should have rewatched it, to be honest. But yeah, really, really good. Really good.
Yeah, that Incendies is one that I really want to rewatch as well because I moved it down to a 4 star, but I don't really know where to peg it ranking wise. Like, I mean, we'll talk about our rankings. I have it obviously in a spot, but it's a tough one for me to rank because I feel like it could go up and it could go down. The only thing I have, I guess, comment on the plot twist. I feel like it's one of the more like convenient plot twists in like film history where it's like one you're gonna have to like really buy into that. It's like, it's 1 in a million is underselling it. Like to see that, at a community pool, be in the same exact area, same place, same time, and make that realization.
Shout out Tyler Whitmore, Trivia 10.
Yeah, that was your question, right? Yeah,
it was my question.
Yep. Yeah,
I did so well on that, George. He said to me, "What was the plot twist?" And I said specific body part. I said he was asking for the foot, and I said the ankle. It was crazy.
Yeah, and we're filming another one with you today later. I hope you remembered that.
Oh shit, yeah.
But so Incendies, like I said, we did a real quick on it. It'll be linked in the description down below where we talk about it for 30 minutes. But long story short for me is just it's one that I need to rewatch. Focus more on getting watches of all the stuff I hadn't seen at this point to finish off a filmography. But this is definitely the one that's like the hardest one for me to rank because I don't know. I could easily see it going down a couple pegs based on when you'll end up seeing my ranking where it's at, and then it could also go up. But Cam, do you have anything more to add down, Incendies?
Just that I think I have early onset dementia. I don't
Watch
remember
Still
this movie.
Alice.
I don't remember this
That's a
movie
review.
super well at all. Like I remember, I give it a 4.5 out of 5, and I really like it. And I think that's why I'm so bad at your trivia, Tyler. I couldn't tell you what the twist in this was. Can't remember. Were they like sister and brother or something?
It was her son.
Well, it's
Yeah,
like,
that's it. Yes, her son.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember that shit, man. And I think that's obviously the biggest part. I just like unless I watch a movie twice, I'm fucking lost. I have the worst.
You should
memory.
go back and listen to our real quick review.
I think I might. But I
Episode
remember
13,
loving
bro.
it. I remember really liking it. That's all I remember.
yeah, you'll be nodding along, being like, "This Cam guy's got some good takes."
Yeah, right. He's cooking here. Let him.
Just
cook.
because we're about to like head into Prisoners too. Didn't he really like started this like post 2009 run of like not making easy to watch films?
No.
Like going from a mass shooting to the tragedy of war to abduction of your children. Like,
Blade Runner 2049 is like his easiest to watch film.
yeah,
Because
and
like
it's
even
still, like-
Arrival is kind of like that's a bummer movie.
Yeah,
man.
Rival's
Like,
sad.
Yeah.
Sicario has some gruesome scenes. as
Sicario
well.
is
Yeah.
kind of fucked. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
like he's really making like some movies where you're like, damn, this is just
Enemy's
tough-
sad as
I mean,
well.
Dune's
They're all
Dune's
fucking sad.
all of his sci-fi movies are actually Arrival's sci-fi, but his sci-fi new movies are easier to watch. He's gone soft. Denny Villeneuve went
Man,
woke.
Dune's,
Wake up,
Dune's
liberals.
tragic, man. Dune's tragic.
Wake up, liberals. He went woke.
But before we get into Prisoners, so at this point we're in 2010, and we got two short films from him in 2011 that I watched last night that completely hypnotized me. They're both on YouTube if you guys want to watch them. First is Empirical Study on the Influence of Sound on Retinal Persistence, and it's basically his little mind game study of basically it's just red. All it is a minute of red and green strobe lights flashing super fast. That'll give you, like, if you have epilepsy, do not watch. And then there's music going along in the background that goes from like a slow drum beat to faster, and the pace changes, and it's kind of just like a interesting little thing to watch and be like, okay, well, the visuals are strobing at the same exact pace, but because the audio is changing how fast it's going in your mind, you think it's faster strobe, slower strobe. So I don't know. It just seemed like he was doing a little study with himself on how sound impacts film. And then you have Rated R for Nudity, which the short has literally nothing to do with that name. It's also on YouTube, 3 minutes long. And it's interesting. It's kind of just like an autobiography a bit. It talks about like his childhood, his early career. Like he's like, when I grew up, I wanted to be Ingmar Bergman, which is like a really interesting thing from Denis Villeneuve. Like that's just so interesting that
isn't it?
His big influences. Because like obviously, you know, we saw with like 2001 being his first of his favorite films, and like you, based on his filmography, you'd be like, oh, it's very like more Kubrick.
Actually,
I'd say.
I think like thematically, a lot of Denis films go into the same stuff that Bergman did in his career. Honestly, I think you can see
way different style of film, but yeah,
Denis greater than Bergman.
Okay, let's just calm down. Resemble, yeah, different, of course, massively different in terms of like the actual film itself. But you know, I kind of get it. More talented in a lot of his films. You know,
I literally just watched Empirical Study while you guys were ranting about Polytechnique. This would be Owen's favorite Denis movie.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, the last line of my Letterboxd review is like kind of just makes me want to rewatch Babylon now because like the final, it's all the colors and sound. But yeah, Rated R for Nudity is wild. It literally is like hypnotic. There's the middle of it goes on a crazy black and white strobe that again, epilepsy warning, and then it just like ends with him saying like, "I own your subconscious, I own you," and I'm like, "Whoa, Denis, what?" And the thing that's cool about these shorts though is, and which I said in one of my reviews, is that I feel like we've tapped into 10% of Denis Villeneuve's weirdness in feature-length films. Like I feel like he has so much weirdness left in him.
Weirdness, he does. Yeah,
we saw flashes of that in Maelstrom, and Next Floor, that other short we talked about. And I just feel like if he can finish like his Dune franchise off, do a couple more blockbusters like he's planning, and then kind of do more of like I know Francis Ford Coppola more did it because he wasn't, you know, granted the big budgets anymore. But if he can start doing just whatever he wants and just the weird stuff and just maybe lower budget, just crazy odd stuff, I want to see what Denis Villeneuve has. So he's a weird guy that before watching these shorts, I didn't really quite grasp just how weird he is. Rated R for Nudity is just, I watched it right before bed. It basically hypnotized me for bed.
Did you rate this, Tyler? Oh, you rate everything.
I rate everything. I'm come on.
I like that.
It's-
I like that it ends with "I own you" or whatever you said, Tyler. And
Yeah.
I like the idea that Denny actually doesn't make good movies, but he's hypnotized us all. Like he owns us somewhere in his movies. He's hypnotized us all.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say what kind of branch off of what you just said about like him, just like when he's done with Dune, just like going to like these small like art house projects. I feel like he's obviously proven that he's capable of whatever he wants. War.
I don't think he will, though. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's between Arrival and now Dune Part 2 and eventually Dune Messiah and Rendezvous with Ranma. He's clearly found like
The scales too.
he loves these conceptually grand science fiction projects. Obviously, he can be stretched as far as possible if he wants. He's proven that. And he's capable of it. But I feel like his whole career has been geared towards building himself up to create like this Dune trilogy.
For sure. And who knows? I mean, we've talked about how much it mirrors Christopher Nolan's career trajectory. Maybe to some similar, where Christopher Nolan was like, I want to do a biopic. I'm going to do a biopic on Oppenheimer. And then he just can't help himself but to make it the most like epic, intense biopic of all time with incredible score and visuals. That even when like I feel like Nolan conceptually for Oppenheimer is like, I'm going to go a little more grounded than something like a Tenet or like a, Interstellar, but then Oppenheimer ends up being still just like basically a magnum opus, honestly. But now we're getting into 2013 Prisoners. Keller Dover, played by Hugh Jackman, his daughter and her friend go missing on Thanksgiving. He then takes matters into his own hands as the police pursue multiple leads and the pressure mounts. Obviously, Jake Gyllenhaal being the main detective, Loki. But just how far will this desperate father go to protect his family? So there's kidnapped daughters. Paul Dano also in this film. Great cast, honestly, from top to bottom. And Viola Davis, Terrence Howard, like really just an incredible cast. That this is kind of like his first. Cam would say differently. First, like English language full feature.
Apparently not.
He really got all the stars out for it. He got just an incredible cast for the first one. And so 2013 thriller, very psychological as well at times. We'll start with Cam. Prisoners.
Sure. Prisoners is so fucking good, man. I loved Eddie. I've decided. Emma and I watched it maybe like a month ago at this point. And I made a video like this is one of Emma and I's favorite movies to watch together, or at least we like to watch it together. We've seen it together a couple times. I think that's the only times I've actually watched it is with her, but so damn good, man. And every time you watch this, it's just like, God, this is awesome. Because like I watch, you got to give yourself enough time in between to where like what's gonna happen, the story, but like you don't know every intricate like detail of it. Because I'm like, oh shit, I forgot that. That's awesome. Like with the mazes and everything, and David Dashmount like shooting himself, like just a crazy twist there, and I don't know, like Paul Dano just not actually being like the kidnapper. And I'm spoiling it, but again, it's a 2013 movie that like is one of the most popular movies of all time. So I'm sure not a big deal. But this is the all time like person wants a good thriller to watch and they're like just now getting into to film or something. This is the easiest recommendation. Like it's all time.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
This is the biggest mindfuck movie of all time. Like all time TikTok movie right here.
This was TikTok edits. This random like 2022 kind of era.
Hell yeah, man. It was
Hugh Jackman shouting at Paul Dano with the hammer.
Oh, with the hammer. Yeah.
That's my daughter.
Yeah. Just so good, man. I don't even know what to say. Like, I just love this thing. Freaky Deaky gets so damn freaky in this. The shot of the little peephole on Paul Dano's face, where that's like cool. The only piece of light you see, is so good every time I watch it, man. And Hugh Jackman is just so great in this. I think Jake Gyllenhaal, like, this is a fine performance of his, but I don't think I think he blows me away in most performances. Though I will say, like, I don't think it's his best ever, but like, I think he's still really good in it. But Hugh Jackman for me just steals the show. Terrence Howard, he what an interesting role for him. I feel like this is a very different role, playing a nice saxophonist, or what is it? What's he play? Some sort of
I think saxophone might be right. It's been
crazy
on.
all-time cast overlap with the Suicide Squad, as Tyler knows, and Sammy J Reacts found out. But just what a movie, man! I really like it. I really
Yeah.
fucking like it.
Yeah, Prisoners is one of those films that's just so foundational for me, like getting into movies. Like when this came out, I was so invested in it. I went home and I was reading stuff about it for hours about the mazes and making all these connections. I was just one of those that it just gave me so much to digest after a first watch. And then every time you rewatch it, you kind of get more things you pick up on it. But yeah, and we'll talk about Enemy kind of next. But yeah, Prisoners and Enemy were like two that just came out at the same time that just got me so into film, and both by Denis and with Jake
Are they a
Gyllenhaal.
year
obviously.
apart? They were
Same year, 2013.
Wow, interesting. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
which interestingly enough, Enemy was actually like produced before Prisoner, but Prisoners came out first. But yeah, George, thoughts on Prisoners?
Everything Cam said. This is one of my favorite psychological thrillers out
Hell
there.
yeah.
Just like you said, Tyler, this is like, it's such an instrumental movie in like my film going career, where it just kind of like turned me on to like these psychological thrillers. It turned me on to Denis, who I fucking love, obviously. Double acting nomination snub in my mind. I think both of them deserve the nomination. And looking back at 2013, I think Leo in Wolf of Wall Street is the only performance I would take over Hugh Jackman in Prisoners. I think this movie absolutely fucks. It is this movie in like most filmmakers' filmographies is a crazy psychological thriller risk, but like in Denis' filmography, it's like his most conventional project. It feels like his most like accessible film when you look at like the rest of his filmography together. But yeah, I love Prisoners. I've seen it countless times, and it just fucking blows me away and destroys me every single time. Credit to the acting, to the directing, to Daddy Deakins, obviously. I love Prisoners.
Seth.
Yeah, I'm definitely lower on it, but I think it's great. I know what you mean. I think it's like it's not his, it's not accessible by any means, but it's because it is a puzzling film. But I think at the same time, it's like you don't really meet people who don't like Prisoners in a way that it's just very thrilling. It's a turbulent, spine-tingling thriller. I think I said in my review because it's just anxiety-inducing. I think the cast is all there. It's great. You've got Deakins on his absolute A game as he usually is. And it's just a good exploration of trauma as well and kind of what that goes into. And I think Cam, remind me, what's Jake Gyllenhaal's character called? Detective
Loki.
Loki. Yeah.
MCU reference?
MCU reference?
Could be. Could
Yeah.
be.
And I think his card's like really interesting perspective. Really interesting study. I didn't like this as much as I did when I was younger.
I think this is his most accessible, sorry, not his most accessible, like the most accessible thriller.
I think this is Denis' most accessible film too. I would say that.
I think it's definitely I'd probably go Sicario.
I think Sicario.
Those are the two for sure. Those are the two.
Yeah. But I think that you're not wrong. I think Prisoners, whilst I don't think we should say it is most accessible, but it is still like it's puzzling, it's intricate, it's
sure
challenging in a way that you kind of can't grasp everything, which I think Cam alluded to. But it also is that kind of conventional style thriller that it is just going to please most people because it works on every front that it wants to. It is thought provoking, but it's also challenging and it's thrilling. You've got Deakins, who I said is on his A game, like completely, and you've got a cast who that are just full of faces who fit the roles just so perfectly in every way. The only thing I don't love, I guess, about Prisoners, because I do really like it, is I don't really love the ending, to be honest. I don't think it's that great, but that's just me. And I think I know you do, Cameron. That's fine.
Like it.
Yeah, I don't love the reveal. But the same thing. I people get very upset in my review, and it's like, what are we talking about? It's a 4-star, man. It's crazy.
Should be higher. You hated it.
Shut up. But yeah, really, really good. Really liked it. Not as much as I did when I was younger, but I think that's granted. It was the same thing that happened to me when I rewatched like Seven, for example. When I was younger, I loved Seven. Rewatched it, and I was like, it's great, but I don't have that same desire to watch it over and over again like I did when I first watched it. But yeah, really, really good film. Nothing really else to say.
Prisoners greater than 7 though. Definitely for me.
I
Incendies.
would
Facts.
pick
Facts.
Prisoners over 7.
Yeah, it's aged better for me. But Prisoners, I love watching movies and then showing people movies, especially movies like this, where it's like you just kind of want to watch them go through the processes when they haven't seen it before. And I mentioned before on the pod, like when I showed it to my mom, I was so pissed because she, like right away when she first saw the woman, she's like, oh, I bet it's her who kidnaps all the kids and orchestrates this whole thing. I was like, I'm just gonna turn this movie off. Screw you. Like, why do you have to do that? But yeah, like I love showing my friends.
She liked it.
All time.
I think it's hard for people to not like Prisoners.
It is, isn't it? It's whatever I've recommended people.
I mean,
All
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, real quick, while we were talking about watching with parents, all-time Brad Walsh quote. We watched this with my dad for the first time. He told me he wouldn't do this for me. he goes, I'd let the cops handle it, Cam. I was like, all right, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Brad Walsh backs the blue. He trusts them. He's like, they'll do their thing.
Cops will take care of it. Great.
But yeah, it's kind of just like how far will the father go to protect his family? Hugh Jackman farther than Cam's father, it sounds like. But yeah, I love this movie. I love watching people go through it for the first time. I love rewatching it as well. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'll probably always stay that way. Jake Gyllenhaal, Hugh Jackman, just incredible performances. Hugh Jackman has such range, and he's so good in this. But really everyone, even the supporting characters, like Paul Dano, just brilliantly weird in this movie and creepy. And, like the scene with it walking his dog outside, just horrifying, singing Jingle Bells.
Hugh Jackman better in this than he is in Logan.
You've never seen Logan.
Yeah, but still.
I disagree. Well, I don't know. Hugh Jackman's so good. And I think my favorite tweets about Hugh Jackman are the ones that are like, Hugh Jackman just so badly wants to be some musical guy on stage. Mm-hmm. Marvel keeps ripping him back in to get ripped. But he also does movies like this. But yeah, he does just want to be a nice like stagehand music guy.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely a theater kid at heart. He would love nothing more than just to make Les Miserables, Greatest Showman.
His only bad performances in it was like 2 years ago.
It's that sci-fi film.
Yeah,
I know what you
Reminiscence.
Yeah.
That's really only bad performance. IMO.
Yeah.
But after Prisoners, same exact year, that links up with Enemy. So Enemy, initially Christian Bale was attached to be the lead role, but had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. Then Jake Gyllenhaal, which, like I said, Enemy was produced before Prisoners. So I don't know if it was like Prisoners with Enemy or Jake Gyllenhaal with Enemy, and then Denis like, yeah, you're great. I'm going to bring you into Prisoners. Or if he was already attached to Prisoners, then Christian Bale fell out, and he's like, I already got Jake Gyllenhaal on these sets and in these production meetings. Let's get him on this movie as well. But you get 2 Jake Gyllenhaal performances in this movie because Enemy is the story of a man seeking out his exact lookalike after spotting him in a movie. Talking about Prisoners being maybe one of his most accessible films in terms of English language ones, I think Enemy is for sure the least accessible. And I'd say maybe, in general, it's one of his least accessible films. One of them that, someone could turn on and just absolutely hate. It's definitely, there's a lot more that it makes
it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn. I think so.
I would say, because I just rewatched it. I'd say, even though it's 90 minutes, I'd still say it's a slow burn. But
I mean, you can make a 90-minute movie. For sure. A slow burn, I feel like. Yeah, but and the production is super tight on this movie in terms of like, the screenwriting is where it's kind of in the masterpiece is in the writing of this movie, but the actual production, like you could easily see this being filmed and put together, very quickly. There's obviously some visual effects stuff they had to do, but in terms of filming this movie with the actors on set, probably could have done it quite quick. But Enemy, let's see, we'll start with Seth on this one. Enemy, what's your thoughts?
I think Enemy was the first Disney I ever watched, weirdly. When I was like, how old? When did I come out? Like 2013?
Yep.
Like 14, 15, whatever. I think that Enemy is maybe one of Denis' most interesting films. I don't mean best. I mean interesting to have a conversation about because there's so much to it. I also think this is one of Jake Gyllenhaal's best performances. I think it's so good how he captures kind of the nuances between each character and there's like these subtle differences. A lot of complaints about Enemy are kind of the brown hue. It's all very dusty and looking. I like that. I think it works perfectly within this kind of context of the film. I haven't seen this for a while. I do need to rewatch it, to be honest. But I think what I remember is just a really interesting kind of exploration of human nature, of the differences between them, of the doppelgangers. And I think it kind of has a lot of thrilling elements, has a lot of heartfelt elements as well. Like I said previously, I think Jake Gyllenhaal, he is so, so good in this. Like I really might be his best for me, just because of how he captures the differences between the two characters, especially when they're on the same scene. It's one that, like Tyler said, I think it is, maybe his least accessible, other than Maelstrom, probably. And I think it works. You know, not everything works. I think a few bits flew over my head, but that being said, I haven't seen it in probably about a year now, maybe a little bit longer. And I've only seen it twice because I watched it way ago when it came out, whatever. I think the spider stuff is really interesting as well. Like really, really interesting. The spider stuff. It's just a really unique thing. Is like this might be way off, but it's like representing like, you know, commitment. Female commitment is kind of the one that people drive the most, and like fear in general, which obviously spiders representing quite a lot of films. But yeah, I need to rewatch it because I do find it really interesting. And I remember watching it, just be like, "What the fuck?" And I watched it again. And I was like, "Okay, a little bit's adding up, but still, what the fuck?" You know what I mean? Really good. Yeah, really, really good. Need to watch it again. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is like the man in this. I think this is like his bag. You know?
Yeah, I love Enemy, and Jake Gyllenhaal, like you said, both his performances, because he's given two, are so good in this. And you know, you get this quirky college professor who lives in kind of a empty apartment, doesn't really have a strong relationship. I mean, he's seeing a woman, but you don't really get a gauge. Are they just like a fling that hooks up? Are they dating, girlfriend?
Yeah.
Like they're not super connected. But just he's so good, and just being kind of like this weird guy, odd guy, just watches a movie and he becomes so obsessed with seeing this guy who looks exactly like him. And then you have the other Jake Gyllenhaal, which is the actor in that movie that he sees as just kind of a background guy who has his life more put together in the sense of having a nice apartment, a lot nicer than the other Jake Gyllenhaal. And he's an actor, but at the end of the day, also he's like been like an extra in 3 movies, and like extra is like a stretch. He's not even really a credited actor.
Yeah.
So he's not really a flourishing actor, but he's got the motorcycle, the cool leather jackets, this nicely styled hair, kind of
Nice
everything
apartment.
that the other one, yeah, nice apartment, everything the other professor Jake Gyllenhaal isn't. And you see these two men that just become obsessed over the fact that they're, you know, mirror images of each other. They're the same scar. And then obviously kind of getting like the big twist that, you know, they're the same guy. And the movie is kind of circular in the sense that the ending of the movie can almost lead right into the beginning of the movie. And it's like, when does the actual movie end? Like the start and the end of the movie might not necessarily be what the start and the end of the actual, like, you know, minute 0 and minute hour 30. And the spiders, crazy imagery. Yeah, it's a very yellow film, but yeah, just such a bizarre film. I love it so much. This is the first time I rewatched it in like 10 years, like I said, and I still love it just as much. And I think Jake Gyllenhaal is just really on his A game here. So much mystique in the thrill of this movie with, you know, when the pregnant woman that's married to the suave acting Jake Gyllenhaal kind of goes and meets the professor version, gives him a call on his phone after talking with him on the park bench, and then you don't see him pick up that phone until he gets right behind a wall, and you're like, oh fuck, like is this the same guy? Is this not? And then you get the car accident. Like this movie, Prisoners, is a thriller that has so many layers to it, but kind of spoon feeds you a lot of answers. There's still a lot of, don't get me wrong, first time I watched Prisoners, I did not catch everything, but Enemy is definitely one that you're gonna finish and be like, what the fuck? Like there's a lot I have to unpack here.
Well, I think it's interesting because, like you said, there's so much to unpack. But I think it's for a 90-minute film, it's pretty impressive to have that much in and not feel like stuffed to the brim. Because I don't think it does. I think it fits really well.
Mhm.
And 90 minutes is pretty short, you know, to have everything in that it does throughout the whole runtime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and kind of like I mentioned when I was preluding this, it's the production of it's pretty simplistic at the end of the day. Like there's a couple visual effects shots, there's a car accident, but at the end of the day, like they're not anything groundbreaking. So I really think like the screenwriting, writing this film is where a lot of the master maze and puzzle of putting this complex film and idea with all these layers and so much to unpack comes together. And then when you actually kind of put it to film, wasn't a whole lot that had to be going down. A lot of it's just conversations between characters, but yeah, I love Enemy. George, your thoughts?
I love Enemy too. I think you just did a really good job of breaking it down, so I won't go too into it. This is kind of like, people always ask me like who my favorite filmmakers are, and Denis and Nolan are top 2, maybe top 3 if I squeeze Spielberg in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mostly because of their similarities. And Enemy feels like something straight out of like a Nolan early day. Like I feel like you could throw it right in the middle of his filmography between The Prestige, between Memento and Following, and it would just flow so seamlessly with what Nolan was doing back in the day. I think to Tyler's point, you said like I could rewatch Prisoners as many times and I'll still pick up on something new. I don't think there's one person in the world that finishes one Denis film and picks up everything. His films are so layered, it's fucking crazy. And Enemy is just, with its circular timeline, with its dual characters and kind of this I don't even know how to describe it. This unrelenting psychological fuckfest that he's kind of taking you on. There's just so much to appreciate here within within like just the direction that Denis takes you, the screenplay. This run for me of Prisoners and Enemy kind of it makes me appreciate Incendies a lot more as like this career changing moment in Denis' filmography, because he kind of goes from obviously the foreign language films, not A-list actors, but more than capable actors, to a Prisoners, which has become obviously one of the most, just respected films out there, with two of the most prolific actors at the time, even though they're still prolific. It's just crazy that he goes from something like Incendies to something like Prisoners and Enemy, to just becoming this incredibly well respected filmmaker globally. But yeah, I love Enemy. It's definitely one of the Denis that I need to revisit. I think I've probably revisited it the least outside of his like pre 2009 stuff. That and Sicario. So I definitely want to revisit it. But yeah, I love it. I love it. This is just kind of, like I said, there's so much overlap and similarities between Denis and Nolan within their entire career. But Enemy is kind of where I think they like really cross paths.
He didn't write Enemy, did he? I don't think. Did he write Enemy? I don't think he did.
So.
Okay. When did he? No, he didn't write Enemy. Yeah.
No, Javier Coulon wrote Enemy.
Nice.
Cam?
Enemy, very good. Sorry, I just got back. Big fan of Enemy. And Enemy's like actually, never mind. Don't know where it is in my rankings. Could be anywhere. Yeah, I love Enemy, man. And like you guys said, this one of Jake Gyllenhaal's best. Nightcrawler being his best, obviously. Come on.
No.
You don't think so? Oh, Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, man, obviously.
Yeah,
perfect. No,
you're forgetting Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time.
No, what's it called? The fucking Michael Bay one from 2 years ago. Shit.
Oh, Ambulance. Ambulance.
He
cooks in that movie, but that movie is not as good as anyone says. I'm so anti that movie now. No, I really like Enemy. And nothing you guys haven't said. Fantastic, like showcasing like what you could have a better life. Is it a better life? All that jazz. But again, I think this is the second time I'm shouting him out. But Sam and Jay, shout out him. Hating yourself. I read his review and I thought it was funny. Hating yourself for an hour and 30 minutes. Rookie numbers. Yeah, facts. Hate myself a whole lot more than that. But no, very good movie. Shout out Denny. But you guys said everything. I just took my dog out. So
Sam is a funny dude. Go ahead.
The more I have like Denis' letterbox page open, just looking at his filmography. The more I stare at like this collection of films, the more I'm convinced that
I just made my list.
Stop glazing, George. Shut up.
I'm gonna glaze this man endlessly.
Just
looking at this collection of movies. This might be the greatest filmmaker of all.
Tyler, could we have done this episode last week when like George wasn't here, please? Thank you.
I just made my list though, George, and I was like, "Wow, I like that movie. Wow, I like that movie. Wow, I like that movie for every single one." Yeah, can't wait.
Of all, sorry, we're kind of sidetracking. Of all of like my 5-star films, he's got the second most 5-star films from any filmmaker.
It's a shame Nolan's better. Nolan's better.
He and Nolan are actually tied for 2.
Who's won? Spielberg?
Do you like Nolan? Do you think you like Nolan more, George, or Denis? So I'm definitely probably more Nolan.
I definitely lean more Nolan right now, but I think as Denis' filmography kind of unfolds and as he wraps us this Dune trilogy, as he continues to expand,
Dune 2 might be the best movie ever.
Oppenheimer really threw Nolan just.
Yeah, Oppenheimer definitely elevated Nolan to heights I didn't think he would go. Just because I was excited for Oppenheimer, but I was unsure if he could pull off a biopic. I really was. But now he's kind of just proving that he could do whatever the fuck he wants and he'll be good at it.
Mm-hmm. Until he makes a shit horror film, which he's going to do.
Obviously, he should.
Horror's going to be the tackle. That's going to be the one to end him. I'm telling you.
So after Enemy, we go to Sicario in 2015, which I think I like more than most people. So this is where you have an idealistic FBI agent enlisted by a government task force to aid in the escalating war against drugs at the border area between the U.S. and Mexico. So you have Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, Josh Brolin, Daniel Kaluuya, all-time kind of cast trivia question there. He's hard to remember that he's in this one. And then you kind of got a perfect storm written by Taylor Sheridan, cinematography by Roger Deakins. I think
more than most. George and I both have this at a 5. You're at 4.5, clown.
Well, sorry.
Come on.
Dude.
Well, I think in most people's Denis rankings, and which might even be true for you, which we'll see, that it doesn't really come close to the top for most people. But Sicario, just the scenes, specifically the border crossing scene, just heart stopping every single time, just hold that breath, similar to like the Argo, getting a plane ticket scene. But that scene's incredible. You get some just brutal scenes between, I guess another one, what's his name? He's in like everything. He plays the Punisher.
John Bernthal.
John Bernthal,
all-time character actor.
Yeah, John Bernthal. That scene with him and Emily Blunt, incredible. Like, so just holding your breath the entire time. Then when they're going in the final tunnels, like Roger Deakins just really cooked with the cinematography to make it so you're just holding your breath for most of this movie. And it's just we've seen films like this before where it shows the corruption of police agencies, armed forces, and how once you kind of join them, you either succumb to that and join the dark side, or you kind of rage against it. And Emily Blunt struggles trying to rage against it the entire time. And you get to the final scene, obviously, but I'll save some more for other people to unpack. So I'm going to start this one with George.
Oh, I love starting. I love this movie so much. This is, I don't know. It's so easy to like look at Denis' career and be like, yeah, he's got it. Like he's got the sauce, but like then you like really truly like deep dive like we're doing right now and like go into like each film and just how different everything is. And you're like, yeah, this man is just so capable of doing whatever he wants. Sicario.
I have to listen to more of your glaze.
I'm glazing. I'm going to spend the next hour glazing.
Dude,
this
man.
Maybe that's like a Bergman or
episode,
something.
man.
I swear to God.
We're going to name this episode The
glazing
Glazing of Denis Villeneuve. I'm glazing this man endlessly right now. But this is just, it's one of the most thrilling and tense experiences I have ever had the pleasure of witnessing. One thing about this movie that I think, I don't think it gets overlooked, but when you're looking at a movie with so many positives, it could get overlooked. Benicio del Toro puts on one of the best performances, I think, of the last decade. He is so reserved, but he's so chilling and he's so vengeful, and it's just such an impactful performance. And then obviously Emily Blunt and Josh Brolin are just mesmerizing. Roger Deakins doing his thing. It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's like an Oppenheimer. It's all the railways coming together to create just this masterful project. And I think this is just Denis. Absolutely. Obviously, he popped out of his shell, I think, with Incendies, and then with Prisoners and Enemy, he kind of just expanded on what he's capable of. And then Sicario kind of took us to this, I don't want to say next level, because I do think, spoiler alert for my ranking, I do think Prisoners is a better movie than Sicario, but I think Sicario is where he kind of showed us that, like, yeah, he's capable of these very, one, high octane set pieces, two, conceptually bold narratives. I think he kind of branched off into showing us that, I don't know if I would consider this a blockbuster the way we would consider like Dune or Blade Runner 2049 a blockbuster, but this is where I think he kind of convinced people, yeah, I'm going to put you in movie theater seats and you're going to want to come and watch my fucking movie because I am the greatest filmmaker of all time. Stanley Midbrick's got nothing on me.
The Sicario world has a chance to be one of the weirdest worlds ever, because we had a sequel, obviously, that had nothing to do with it. The only similar link is like Benicio del Toro, and I think Josh Brolin is back too, but the production side of things, completely different. And
not really. It's still written by Taylor Sheridan.
Oh, is that? Well, Denis gone.
Yeah.
I don't
it's written and directed this time by Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah. And
it's his miss.
Yeah, definitely a miss. It's just thematically so different. But now Sicario 3 might be a thing that's rumored, and Denis would come back for that. So it'd be the weirdest trilogy of all time.
They're doing Sicario 3? That's not confirmed, is it?
No, it's not confirmed, but he said he would be interested in coming back for it potentially.
Oh, I don't want him to do that.
Cam, you probably know this. What do people call Taylor Sheridan's like unofficial trilogy? Like Wind River,
Hell of High Water.
Yeah, I don't know, the Taylor trilogy. They definitely call it some Heller High Sicario River.
Wow.
Okay,
That is catchy.
That's what they call it, actually. Yeah,
That
the
is
Hell or High
good.
Sicario River trilogy.
It's surprising it hasn't
Um,
caught on more with that.
The
brand.
best trilogy of all time is what it should be called. Then
Okay, let's calm down. What the
they're
fuck?
all 5s for me. I'll be honest. They're fucking bangers.
Wait, so you can't include Sicario. It's his written trilogy, I guess. I feel like
Yeah, they're
Sicario-
all written by no.
I know, but Sicario
Wind
2 should have to be
River.
in that because it's directed by him too.
No, Wind River's not directed. No, Wind River is directed by him,
Wind
but
River,
not. But
yeah.
Hell or High Water isn't.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
I was counting just his start of just writing because now he has.
Now he's obsessed with Yellowstone.
Yeah, well, that shit just like takes off in boomer country.
Yeah,
But
7 million spin-offs.
he directed one a couple years ago, which I didn't love with
The one with
Angelina Jolie.
Jolie.
Yeah, the fire
Oh.
one. That's like the fires that
Those
fire
who
it
wish
away.
me dead.
Yeah, those who wish me dead. Had potential, but he's much better writer than he is director. Even though I think Wind River is fantastic,
Mhm.
but not we could do a Taylor Sheridan episode that I would ride.
Seth, your thoughts on Sicario?
Yeah, it's a shame Taylor Sheridan can't write dialogue. That's the only
That's
issue with
absurd. Like that's actually such a
stop
take because he's
You're
like one of the best
so-
writers of this generation.
it. That's crazy. Okay,
That's
I'm
so.
You
That's
are
such a bad take.
lost.
Seth.
can't
You
can't
can
end
just be
can't end scenes of dialogue. Can't close scenes.
Wind River
Anyway,
has bad dialogue. M Night
No!
Shyamalan.
there you
Oh,
go.
my
Yeah, see, there you go.
That is such.
He
a
Probably
Oh,
writes all of
awful
M
take,
Night's
but
movies with the dialogue M Night.
That's
has.
such a
Oh my
bad awful
God,
take.
this
This is
is
disgusting. Like this is foul.
despicable.
Can't write. Can't write.
This is foul.
Although I haven't seen.
This
What's
is
the
a
other one?
soup's inside out level take right there.
Yeah. Hell or High Water. You haven't seen?
Soup's just described the plot. At least I'm giving like a criticism validly. Come on, like.
I don't know.
No, I haven't seen Hell or High Water. I haven't seen that one. I
Very
haven't
good
seen
movie.
Sicario 2 either. I did see. Did you guys see that one he did with Michael B. Jordan? He wrote that. That was terrible.
Without remorse, terrible.
Yeah, that was.
Oh
awful.
yeah, I think I
Oh,
did
man.
see that. That is really bad.
But yeah, no, I do like Sicario. I think.
Is that from a couple years ago?
Let me just have a look. Yeah, I do like Sicario. I think it's like George said, high octane. I think that Denis is like that guy when it comes to creating just these suspenseful set pieces. I think that Emily Blunt is like the perfect lead female role for this as well. I think she works so well, along with John Bernthal, Daniel Kaluuya as well, Benicio del Toro. Like George said, I think he's fantastic. He's a really, really great actor. Yeah, I think this is really, really great. I haven't seen it in a good probably over a year now. I probably should have rewatched this one to be honest. But like I said, it's just a master of crafting suspense. I think it keeps you on the edge of your toes throughout completely, and it works on just so many levels, thematically, emotionally as well. Like it was either Cam or George said, just to see with Emily Blunt and John Bernthal as well. It might have even been to you, Tyler. But yeah, I think it's a really, really good film. Don't love it by any means. It's not. I'm not going to spoil it actually. Whereabouts it is, but I do think it's really good, and I think it works on many levels, especially the final kind of 15 minutes where they're kind of running through the tunnels and whatever. I think that's some really fucking cool shots in that. Deakins and Villeneuve and Denis. It's good, combo. Although, is it as good of a combo as Denis and Mr. Fraser?
We should do like a draft or our rankings of our two,
Yes,
like
that's
our
how
favorite, just like combos in general. Because you could go like Nolan and Hans or Nolan and Ludwig, even though that's not really a combo. They just have one movie, but like
Two.
No, two
They got
Tenet.
two. They got two.
oh, Tenet, yeah, Ludwig Göransson's so fucking good. Man.
We could do. Yeah, we should do that.
We should
I mean,
do like that sometimes.
cinematographers and directors as well, because there's so many. That
No,
you
yeah,
say.
that's what I'm saying. Just any like two
All of
people
them.
together or something.
Yeah, because there's some fucking good combos.
Or like actor, director, like Liv Ullmann, Ingmar Bergman. Like there's so many ways you could go with
What
that.
a take! Great
That's
take.
the
Tyler.
one. That's the one you pull of every
That
actor
is-
director.
I don't know.
Thank you,
I think I saw
Tyler.
like a.
That is an amazing one. To be fair, I did do like a lot of his best films together. To be fair,
Sorry, I had to get on Seth's side of the screen for a second and help him out. But so now I know we just started with George for the last one, but we're gonna go back with him for Arrival because I think it's like his favorite movie of all time, or one of them has to be up there. So
is this your
Fast.
favorite? Would you consider this to be your favorite film, George?
I have it second behind The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
man,
I will say,
doesn't
I
make the Nolan versus Villeneuve battle in your head any easier if those are your
No,
two
not
favorites.
at all.
of all time.
Yes.
My entire 10 favorite movies of all time list could be 5 Nolan, 5 Villeneuve, if we're being real. I've adored Arrival since fucking day one. Since I watched it, I remember watching it. Unfortunately, never got to see it on the big screen. The first time I watched it, I was alone in my dorm room sophomore year. and I was just by myself, hysterically crying and absolutely just stunned at what I had just seen. And that's kind of where my like major love affair with Villeneuve kind of began. Um, I think it's just one of the most heartbreaking narratives in science fiction that we've ever seen, but it's one of just the most awe-inspiring things. It's so, it could be looked at as cautionary. It could be looked at as philosophical. I think you can kind of approach this film in multiple directions, and no matter how you view it, no matter which lens you kind of approach it, you're going to get something out of it. You're going to be able to join any discussion or dissection of this film, and kind of add value to it. I think Denis leaves. It's weird because like I think he closes a lot of loose ends in this film very well. He wraps this film up as best as he can, but he also leaves so much room for interpretation, which I kind of love. You're not leaving this experience, this film, thinking like damn, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, where do we go from here? You kind of have an understanding of where the story kind of goes, but again, he's also giving us ample opportunity to kind of discuss it and kind of everyone just to kind of apply their own interpretation on what they had just seen. This for me is like this is science fiction perfection. I watch this movie every so often, and I think it's like the greatest movie I've ever watched. It hits me emotionally the same every single time. I am just so attracted to this very reserved science fiction storytelling. It's very, we've seen the aliens genre or whatever side of film done so many times. You know, The Day the Earth Stood Still. I don't know, but I'm basically trying to say we've seen the alien side of film done so many times, and I think this just takes such a very reserved approach, and I think that's what attracts me the most to it, where it's so impactful, but it's also giving you time to breathe. Amy Adams not being nominated for an Oscar for this movie is the biggest snub ever. I think it is just
Ever?
absolutely dude, it is despicable that she was not nominated for this movie. It is
She was very
so
good.
absurd. On Denis, this was actually so Incendies, Prisoners, and Sicario. They all received Oscar nominations, but this was Denis' first directing nom. Fun fact. Yeah, I love Arrival. I could write a fucking 16-page dissertation on it if you guys asked me to.
Do it by next
No.
week, and you're gonna
Yeah,
the whole
by
episode's
next
gonna be
week.
you reading it word for
Get it
word.
ready. Yeah.
Well, we bonded over. I also watched it for the first time in my apartment at the time, sophomore year of college. So shout out sophomore year of college. And
Nice.
and I remember I watched it immediately, ran it back and would show my roommate, and they did not like it. So I was like, well, I was excited for nothing. So whatever. They were like, this is fucking talking alien symbols. What is this shit? I'm like,
Dude, it's so good.
You are not the right cup of tea for me, I guess. But Seth, your thoughts on Arrival?
Yeah. I think this is fucking amazing. I think it's really, really amazing. I think it's a
And
great
give it a
film.
5 stars, you coward.
But George, you should be happy.
Sorry.
What are you talking
Sorry.
about? You should be elated right now. I think it's
just
really.
a denier. Denny denier.
Denier of what?
Just his
Denier of
greatness.
his
His greatness. His
His
right.
power.
Seth is going to have the exact same rating from us. It's just going to be like 1 star less on each movie. He's just a denier.
I gave Dune a 5-star.
All right, Dune's perfect.
If my
Dune's fucking
Denis
awesome.
denier, I don't give Dune 5-star.
Dune's fucking awesome though. Dune's a different. Beast.
No, I think this is. So I haven't seen this. Well, I hadn't seen this in like, I want to say like COVID times, like lockdown times. So it's been a while. So I didn't have it rated. This is interesting because I think it's like a rewatch where it's like the opposite to Prisoners. I remember liking this, but I don't remember like loving it. I loved it today. I think it was really, really good. I think the most impressive thing about Arrival is whilst it's kind of big in scope, it's also really contained for a sci-fi. Like the sets are so limited. There's not really much here. But what is here is just like, it feels so kind of claustrophobic. Everything's kind of closing in on Amy Adams' character who has been through this kind of trauma. The way that they use time is so interesting, and I think it really is something that improves on multiple watches, or at least I guess anyway. It's really introspective, really refreshing take on the sci-fi genre. I do think Amy Adams is fantastic. I think the first Alien, I tweeted this a few hours ago, the first Alien
Yeah, I
reveal
saw that.
scene, so good. I
So
really wish
tested.
I'd have seen this on a big screen, like this sound
This is
wise.
always I get asked all the time, like if you could rewatch any
Yeah.
film in IMAX. I don't know if I would pick Arrival. Let me make that clear, just because I think there are other films that will be better suited for IMAX than Arrival. But Arrival is always in contention.
Yeah, just because of like the sound work and stuff. So I think it's like really impressive to make a sci-fi that is this kind of contained, because there is obviously these kind of big illustrious shots when obviously they're driving towards at the start. But really, it's quite minimalistic for as far as sci-fi is concerned, in its location. And I think it's pensive, it's chilling, but it's also really human and emotional and really sad, especially the ending as well, when you kind of put the pieces together and the puzzles together and learn what's happening, especially with the time and what Amy Adams' character's life, can't remember what she's called, with Jeremy Renner, of course. Yeah, it's really great, really really great. I loved it. I was surprised by how much I liked it, to be honest. I won't go into any more because obviously I'll save for the rating. But yeah, yeah, fuck you, George. You should be happy with this shit, man. You should be really happy.
I am very happy.
I think when you give something a 5-star, you're not happy until someone else gives it a 5-star.
Yeah, fact.
Which is
That
crazy. That's such high standards.
That's correct.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna say my rating. I guess I'm not as high as George, but this is so good, man. this stretch of movies so much better than anything fucking Stanley Kubrick ever did.
How many Kubrick films do you see, Kev?
I think I've seen the 4 that you talk about as his big stretch, right? So 2001,
probably, yeah.
The
Shining, Barry Lyndon.
Oh, I haven't
Clockwork
seen Barry
Orange.
Lyndon, I guess.
Clockwork
And
Orange.
then Clockwork Orange.
So you've seen
I don't
three
like
Kubrick
Clockwork Orange as much as most. I think
So
I
you've seen
like
3
4
Kubrick
stars.
films.
Yeah, probably. That's what I'm saying. His stretch that you talk about as like 4-film stretch.
I wouldn't pick that as a stretch, but yeah,
I
continue.
thought, yeah, I've seen you tweet that actually. Like I've seen the exact tweet of this
you
4
have
stretch.
tweeted
Yeah.
that
you
several
said
times.
no. You said 3 film stretch.
No, I said 4.
No,
I
4.
was
You
saying.
haven't seen the 4,
I know. I'm saying.
bitch.
I'm saying I thought I had, but I forgot Barry Lyndon was in there. I
I think
just
you
being
like
an
it.
ass. I love Arrival.
I do actually. To be fair, no, I do what you mean. I think this is a really. So it's Arrival, Blade. No,
So it's
Chris-
his stretch. Don't say like your order. His stretch is Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, Dune Part 1. We'll talk about those like more during the rankings. But Arrival, just like heartbreaking, to be honest with you, and the ending kind of kills you. And you like it starts off. You think it's like, oh, you think in the past her daughter died and now she's just this sad like woman who's teaching language, and then like it's revealed. I mean, we're spoiling, right? We don't care.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed that like she's actually seeing the future, and that's what these aliens have taught her. And the question is like, yes, why are you here? But would you, if you knew your future, would you do that? And like that's just the most heartbreaking question ever, especially like knowing her daughter's gonna die. Like, would she go through the 8 years of love just for the like pain and sadness afterwards? And the answer for her obviously is yes. Would it be for everyone? I don't know. But just such an emotional and just painful, devastating ending for a movie that you think is going to be, badass, like science fiction aliens, when in reality, it's got a lot more heart and a lot more like commentary on like, hey, if 12 fucking aliens showed up, this is probably how the world would react, and it's a very Western viewpoint, maybe like other countries, like it very much depicts Russia and China as like going to bomb these fuckers, but would that happen? Maybe. Would it not? Who knows? But it's very much like this is what would happen if 12 countries had one alien ship. How would we all react? Would we communicate with each other correctly in order to solve the mystery? That sort of thing. But yeah, an incredibly like deep and intense, just alien movie that most alien movies are, like Alien, which is a great action movie, or movie. Aliens being more action, but this being more like deep and thought provoking. Just fantastic. No.
Yeah, honestly, Enemy has a lot of similar structure to Enemy in terms of its or Arrival and Enemy have very similar structure in terms of being almost circular, like, the end and the beginning all kind of clicks and comes together in a way. And it's just fascinating when you go through this filmography as we're doing, seeing where all these link, where Enemy and Arrival on the surface, you really wouldn't really connect those, surface level. One's a sci-fi, one's more a character study, which has sci-fi elements, but you know what I mean. They're very different movies when you watch them, but a lot of similar filmmaking structures, a lot of honestly similar thematically as well. But after Arrival, now we're getting into Blade Runner 2049. So yet again, another Denis Villeneuve, Roger Deakins collaboration. This movie didn't do great at the box office, similar to the original Blade Runner. So he continues to pay homage to the original in another big way by getting a big budget, not doing great with it, but people still love it.
It's like one of the biggest flops of all time, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe
not one of the biggest of all time, but it's a big flop.
Did it lose money? Didn't.
Yeah, it lost money, but again, he's just that big of a Ridley Scott fan. He's like, I'm going to lose money with you, sir.
Yeah.
But Blade Runner 2049, Seth, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's great. I think it's very similar to my thoughts with the old Blade Runner. I don't know which one I prefer. I probably prefer the original by like a little bit. But it's really, really good. I think, again, Deakins on his A game. some of the sound and visuals in this are absurd, like really, really absurd, especially in that kind of first stretch with Ryan Gosling's character and kind of when Batista's in the first stretch, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because I haven't seen this in a while, since like a year or so. But yeah, it's really, really good. I think the whole Blade Runner concept, kind of this futuristic dystopian concept, it's not something that interests me as much as other science fiction films. Kind of the aspect of I prefer kind of the futuristic take of Arrival, where it's a little bit more introspective, it's a little bit more kind of self-contained, a bit smaller, and it's not kind of this huge thing. I do think Blade Runner is the sort of film that improves when it's big screen, because it's kind of made for that. Just as when I watching like any sci-fi really on the big screen is going to be better, and inevitably with something like this. But I think it's great. I think it's something that I actually don't. Well, no, I do. I'm arguing with myself in my head, by the way. So yeah, But yeah, I think I love Ryan Gosling in this. I think that some of the effects are amazing, and I think it has some really, really cool set pieces, especially in that final third as well. Not something I love, because I just Blade Runner, the concept of it isn't as interesting to me. But it is a massive technical marvel and a massive achievement. And I also think I like Denis because of the fact that he kind of takes on taking on like a Blade Runner, taking on a Dune. It's a big task, especially when you've got, in Blade Runner's case, you've got one of the most beloved sci-fis ever to back up off. But then in Dune's case, you've got the opposite of that, and really something that everyone thought would be impossible as a task to take on. So it is kind of commendable that he takes on these such huge tasks, and I think Blade Runner was successful. Not something that I love, but yeah, I get it. It's really, really good.
Cam?
I love Blade Runner 2049 with my whole heart. Not just say where it is in my rankings by any means, because I love most every Denny movie, especially like his last 4 with my whole heart, or his last 5, whatever it is. But I think this is like Ryan Gosling's best performance ever. I think it's one of the best performances ever. Maybe that's a hot take, probably is. And if I looked at every single performance ever, maybe that'd be wrong. But like, my memory of this is so high that I love everything about it. I think it's the best looking Denny movie. And the best shot movie. This is Roger Deakins getting absolutely freaky, deaky with it.
Did Deakins do Arrival as well?
No.
Who did Arrival?
I don't know off the top of my head. I just know Prisoners.
Not Deakins.
Yeah, carry on. You found it?
All right.
He did Solo. Wow, he cooked on Arrival.
He did Solo?
Yeah, the only ones
Bradford Young.
the only 2 you'll have seen. Oh, he did Most Violent Year from. Oh no, I didn't say that. He did Solo and Arrival. He fucking cooked with Arrival. That's crazy.
Yeah, good for him.
Arrival
I thought you were saying Roger Deakins did Solo. Okay, I'm on the same page now. No, but dude, this is so good. And like the baseline test scene, I think that was entirely written by Ryan Gosling, where like determines if he's human or not, and like that's like the classic just screaming meme, very funny meme. I wanted to watch this
I
like
can't
really
watch these
bad.
films. Like, I love Denis, but whenever I watch, there's always
There's so
one
many
film
memes from
in
these
like The
things.
Prisoners, and like whenever I watch like There Will Be Blood, now it's like just fuck off, man. I can't even take this seriously anymore. I just hear it all the time. It's so annoying.
My boy scene,
Yeah.
Abandoned my child, but this movie's fantastic. What was I gonna say? It was something, and then I completely blanked in my
Ryan
mind.
Gosling moment where he finds out he's human.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was gonna say. I like this more than the original. I know that's a hot take on this pod.
I don't know if it is a hot take, to be honest.
Well, I think George, it's like one of
on
George's
this,
favorite.
okay,
And I think Tyler likes the original a lot.
It's very. I think
like-
they've got the same average. You know, I think they're quite like.
Okay,
They're both 5s for me.
Yeah, they're 5-star for me. Shoot, I guess I think I've said every rating I give it.
You actually have.
I can pass it off to George because I can oogle and ogle at this thing all day. I wanted to rewatch
Love
it, but
that
I
phrase.
prioritized. I prioritized Arrival last night just because I haven't seen Arrival in longer than I hadn't seen this, and I wish I saw it in theaters, but. On the budget talk, it did lose $80 million. So not like one of the biggest box office busts, but
still pretty bad.
Definitely a bust. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is why it's good to see that he's still getting opportunities because we see stuff like that killed. Because I mean, like we said,
I think Dune lost money, but that released. To be fair, that released with HBO Max, like at the same time.
I think Dune will be a winner.
Dune Part 2 will be a big.
Yeah. But like, because like we said before, Blade Runner 2049 was Arrival, which sci-fi, but way more grounded, not nearly as high budget as something like some space war movie. So it's good that they gave him like kind of a bigger budget. They're giving him bigger budgets, and he hasn't always returned. And people always say like, oh, like talking about box office is anti-art, but at the end of the day, box office gets people employed, keeps people employed. Director jail is a very real thing that many directors are still in and have been put in. I mean, who knows when we'll see the next Damien Chazelle movie? We've seen a lot of other directors that have gone years stretches after a flop where they just haven't really seen anything. So box office does matter at the end of the day. It just simply does. But George, Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, kind of just echo everything Cam says. I think first and foremost, it is a technical marvel. I think right there with Dune, this is just like Denis, I guess, just a crazy achievement within his filmography. I watched like half of it yesterday because obviously I wanted to watch the whole thing, and then Victoria wanted to watch Anyone But You. So I watched half of it, and there are just so many sequences in this movie, just in the first half, where I was like, this is just mesmerizing. And this movie, this is, if you're not already excited for Dune Part 2, which you should be, 2049 should be enough to make you excited for Dune Part 2. Clearly, Denis takes such good care of his films. He clearly knows how to expand on lore, to expand on characters, but give us a refreshing story and a refreshing take, which that seems, with all the reviews that I've seen on Dune Part 2, that seems like the direction we're heading. But if you have any doubts, Blade Runner 2049 is what you should look to, because he clearly just knows how to work a sequel so well. Love every aspect of it. Obviously, the original Dune is maybe in my top 5 favorites films of all time list. I think it was last time we did our favorite lists video for ReelTok, but it may change. But yeah, I think he takes such good care of this story. He pays such good homage to the original while giving like this new generation of Blade Runner fans just something to truly marvel at. Love Ryan Gosling in this movie. I think he's just, I feel like I've used the word reserved a million times on this pod so far this episode, but it's kind of exactly what he is. He's so impactful, but he's so reserved. And I just think those types of emotional and really, confined performances are just so incredible. And I think Ryan Gosling just, obviously prior to 49, he proved himself to be one of the best working today, but I think this just kind of took him to another level.
How do you feel about Harrison Ford? I'm sorry to cut you off. How do you feel about Harrison Ford in this?
I
like him.
Love him.
I love
really?
Him.
I actually
they brought him back perfectly.
I
did not
agree.
feel like a cheap, like, it was not like a Jurassic World Dominion where they brought back all the OGs.
Oh, I don't mean the character. Sorry, I mean like his performance.
Oh,
love him.
Yeah,
really. Okay.
I still listen. I know you. We've had this discussion so many times. I think Harrison Ford is one of the greatest ever.
No, I really like him. I just don't fit this one particular. Like, I think he's done all that for me.
No, I would never call this one of his best performances ever. But I think for being 40 years out from the original to pick it up that easily and to be able to bring back Deckard in a way that I don't think anyone expected, I think was just fantastic. I think he's
My question on this one, is this the best legacy sequel of all time?
yes.
Honestly,
Yes.
I mean,
I would
like,
take-
I don't know if there's really competition. Y'all can think on it because
I
I
would
can't
take
think of
Top Gun
anything.
Maverick. I think Top Gun Maverick. I
Ooh,
would take
Top Gun
over this
Maverick's
one.
up there for
It's-
sure, but I
I
definitely
think
prefer
it's-
this. But it is up there.
Yeah.
What else is there? Like I
It's
know there's
Gladiator
Fury
2
Road.
soon.
Roadhouse
Road.
soon.
Fury Road.
Fury
Dude.
Road and 2049 are the two that come to mind as the two best.
Fury Road barely is a.
Fury Road count though.
Yeah, because
I
there
mean,
are
it's
like 3
definitely a
movies. It's like a
legacy sequel.
legacy
Yes.
quad.
Actually, I'll take
right?
Fury
Yeah.
Road as the best one then. If we're saying that, then you know.
Yeah,
I'd probably
take Fury
Road, but 49 is
I think I'd take this.
Yeah, 49 for me. 2049 isn't. I don't know. Didn't love it as much as most people. I still have to. I'll give it a rewatch. I own it on digital, so I'll give it another watch at
You look
some point.
lonely.
But the original Blade Runner for me is just like a perfect 5 out of 5. I love it so much, and the Blade Runner 2049. I mean, it's still a 4-star for me. Spoiler, but I mean, it's well known on this pod that I don't like it as much as the original. I think we're split 50-50 then on the pod, right? The original versus the sequel, of which we prefer. George, I know you're kind
I
of.
thought George preferred the original. Maybe he
I'm
doesn't.
going original.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like all Denis films, Blade Runner 2049. There's just so much to unpack. It's how long is it? It's almost like 3 hours, right? Like 2 hours.
Maybe like 240,
243.
245.
So there's so much here in this whole world, and like we said, it is a legacy sequel, but it also builds on that world so much. There's just so much more to sink your teeth into because that world of Blade Runner in general, just such an awesome world. And yeah, it's definitely one of like I'd say Blade Runner 2049, Incendies, and Arrival are like the 3 that I like could use a rewatch on the most to kind of really nail down my rankings. But yeah, I mean, you guys have kind of said everything that needs to be said. Beautiful looking film. Like you can pick any still image or any quick clip, and it's gonna be one of the most gorgeous shots of a sci-fi film that we've seen in the century. But with that leads us then up to a 4-year break. Because I mean, like we're talking about this stretch and how great it is, but Prisoners to Blade Runner 2049 is 2013, 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017. So real back to back, as we mentioned earlier in his career, he had that long gap between projects, and now we had a not long gap, but 4 years, longer than we've seen from Denis normally, to Dune Part 1. I wasn't really planning on touching on it too much because I feel like every week the last 4 weeks we've gotten sidetracked and just start glazing Dune.
We did it literally last week when you guys weren't here. As well.
ReelTok Collection Dune, by the way. ReelTok Collection Dune.
Facts.
ReelTok Collection. So we'll jump into our rankings now, and I'm going to start with Seth. So
I think we should go last.
Yeah. Good call. So first off, how many? So I have 11 ranks total. I didn't include the short films. I didn't, or I guess I include.
I have 9.
So I have 10 total.
I've got all the. How many features is it? Is it 11 features?
Well, if you include Cosmos, so 10. I would say.
Okay, so 10. Okay, I've got just the 10 ranks.
Okay,
then.
Cam is a 9, and George is a 9. Okay, so 10th place. We'll just do me and Seth. Seth, what's your 10th place?
We'll say the ratings as well. Yeah, August 32nd on Earth. 2.5. Still not bad.
Okay, and for me,
are we doing 10 through 5 and then 5 back like we normally do? Just go around because we already talked about them. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. For 10th place for me is Maelstrom, 2.5. And then so now we all have 9 left. So now we'll go all the way around the room. Number 9, Seth, what's at your 9?
My 9 is Polytechnique at a 2.5.
Also for me at 9 is Polytechnique at a 3. Cam, what is your 9?
I closed my rankings, but it's my 9 and 1.5, maybe a little too low, is Maelstrom.
George, what's your 9?
My 9 is August 32nd on Earth.
What's your rating?
I don't think
you don't have a
my 9 and at 8 I have Polytechnique. Those are the 2 I don't have rated currently. I need to rewatch them before I fully solidify where they go.
Number 8, Seth.
My 8 is Maelstrom or Maelstrom. I don't know. 3.5.
Mm-hmm. 8 for me, Polytechnique, 3-star. Or wait, no, never mind. I already said that. 8 for me is August 2nd on Earth, 3-star.
My 8, 67 out of 100, 3.5 out of 5 is Polytechnique.
Love it.
To get it in there.
George.
Well, my 8 was Polytechnique.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Unrated.
Seth, number 7.
My 7 is Sicario, is where it jumps up to a. Well, it's a. I've said this before, and I'll say this now. I don't know if you guys will think the same, but there's a for me, so from 3 to 7, they could change any day.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They're all like interchangeable. So yeah, Sicario is my 7 out of 4.
7 for me is Blade Runner 2049 at a 4-star.
Pains me. My 7 and 86 out of 100 is Incendies. 4.5 out of 5, and everything from here is a 4.5.
Okay.
Or
George.
higher. Sorry.
My 7 is Enemy at a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay. Seth, 6. We're all very different.
My 6 is Enemy at a 4.
My 6 is Ensandi at a 4. Cam.
My 6 is an 87 out of 100 at a 4.5 out of 5. Seth and I the same. Enemy.
And George.
And my 6, and I'm 5 stars out, is Sicario.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. 5 stars.
Seth.
You
I
at
love
5. Jesus.
I love that. I love
Everything
it.
here on is a 5 for me.
I love you. I love
Listen,
it.
he's got the sauce.
He
I don't know
has
what you
so
guys
much
want me to
sauce,
say.
man.
He has
Hey,
so
no
much
one's no one's
sauce.
denying the sauce. I'm not denying it. That's fine.
What's your 5, Seth?
My 5 is Blade Runner 2049 at a 4.
Mm-hmm. Cameron.
Sorry, my dog's making noise. 92 out of 100. Watched it last night. Arrival. Last 4.5 out of 5 for me. 3 points away. It's right there.
5 for me is also Arrival at 4 stars. George.
Real
Cam,
quick.
I'll Venmo you $20 to put Arrival at a 5 star.
Move it up. Maybe I will. Man.
You do it for
I
me
liked
as well?
it. I only moved it up
I'll
one
do it.
point, but I like remember not liking it as much. So that's why I wanted to rewatch it. But I really liked it. One point I want to make: Jeremy Renner, best actor like of the main Avengers outside the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, Scarlett Johansson's probably there, but
yeah,
it's
Scarlett Johansson, but probably
yeah,
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner, and what's his name's about to win the Oscar, but
RDJ.
RDJ, thank you. But Jeremy
Yeah,
Renner might be.
Scarlett Johansson probably my pick.
Mhm.
And my number 5 out of 5 star is Ensandi.
4 for
My
Seth.
number 4, it's a 4-star, is on Sandy.
For me, it's Enemy at 4.5 stars. Now
Oh
we're jumping
shit,
to 4.5
Enemy at 4.
filter.
Interesting.
Yeah, love Enemy.
Nice.
George, what's your 4? Cam stepped away.
By 4 out of 5 stars is Prisoners.
Okay.
Damn, bro, I really glazed this man like crazy.
We'll give Cam a second to catch up. Oh wait, he's back. Never mind. So Cameron, you're number 4.
Here's a crazy take, y'all. 95 out of 100. My number 4, Prisoners. Maybe not a crazy take. I don't know.
Why is that crazy? I'm really.
Well, I thought you
confused.
guys would have it pretty higher. I thought you guys would have it higher on the list.
I mean, they're all. I mean, so many of these are
It's
just like
5
close
out of
to me.
5.
I could
It's
change
5
them
out
any
of
day.
Yeah.
So now we're on
Facts.
to Seth for number 3.
Is it George? Oh no, because we did different.
Mhm.
My 3 is Prisoners at 4.
3 for me, Sicario at a 4.5. Cam, you're
I think. No, I was skipped for 4, by the way, because you guys hate me.
Oh, never mind. My bad.
Yeah, my 4 was Prisoners at a 5 star.
Oh,
Unless
wow.
maybe I did
thought
say
most
it.
people, honestly, I thought we'd have it at 1 for most everyone. But
Really?
also a 95 out of 100. Number 3 for me is Dune. What a bang.
George, what's your 3?
Yeah.
My 3 also at a 5 star is Blade Runner 2049.
When did the 6 stars start coming in, George?
Yeah, dead ass.
All right, number 2, Seth.
My 2,
And then
this is
number
like-
1, since it's only left. So just do 2.
So for me, like this is where the real jump is in terms of like where I love them. Arrival 2 at 4.5.
And then Dune at 1.
What is it fucking spoiling it for? Man?
Well, because we only have 1 left.
Yeah,
Like,
Dune at 1.
Let the man give us 1 when it gets to it.
Yeah, exactly, man.
I mean, I did just say give your 2 and 1, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
Cam-
Dune at 1. That's a 5-star, of course.
It's you. It's you, right?
Me. Number 2 for me is Dune at 5 star. Number 1 for me is at Prisoners, 5 star.
There it is. Yeah. Okay.
Cam.
My number 2 at 96 out of 100, Sicario. And then number 1.
Oh shit!
Number 1, 97, Blade Runner 2049. I think.
Wait, where was Dune for you, Cal? Was that
3.
Okay.
90. I go 95, 5 or 95, 95, 96, 97.
97.
We're all wildly different. George, what's
Yeah.
your 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it'd be close.
My 2 is Dune, and my 1, maybe the greatest movie of all time, Arrival at 5 star.
Yeah, we did have.
I thought we'd all have it at a 5. Actually, no, maybe not George. Sorry, Dune at 1.
I thought everyone's was Prisoners.
It's funny,
I thought
none of
George's
us
was
have
Prisoners.
Dune at 1, right?
I have
Seth.
Dune at 1.
Seth.
I have Dune at 1.
So we all have a
funny that-
different one. That's
We
kind
do
of
all
fun.
have
It's funny.
I thought.
And that's our only ReelTok collection of
Wait,
Denny's
what?
filmography.
The only people, oh no, me and George share a 2 because the top 2,
Yeah,
don't we?
we
George,
share a top 2, just backwards.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
I
like
thought
that
we
we all have a different number one. I feel
Well,
like that's the
it
first
goes back
time.
to what I say. I think it's so kind of the quality of a lot of films is so close together that it's really interchangeable.
Mhm.
It's kind of like I think it's varied for a lot of people. Very much
It's
so.
almost as if Denis has the sauce.
I'm going to mute him. I
He's
have to
got
mute
so
him.
much. He's got
to
so
do it.
much sauce, man. And let me tell
Wait.
you, Dune
It's just
Part 2
unreal.
might be our one.
Yeah, well, I was going to say this,
That's
Cam. Good point.
or Dune
Dune
Part 2.
Part 2 predictions. I'm going to give you a big fat. This is going to be my number 1.
I think
yeah.
this might be a 5 out of 5. Every review I've seen like has made me just assume
Yeah.
it's a 5 out of 5 to the point
It's
where
better than the first
I
Dune.
might
What-
watch this movie, hate it, and still give it a 5 out of 5 because I've been tricked. I've been tricked like into thinking
This
it's
is
a 5 out of 5.
Dune's.
I'm
this is
predicting a
getting
Real
hit
Talk
time.
collection entry with Dune Part 2.
This would be the first in this is the first new release collection since like After Sun, no?
It might
Yeah,
be.
after some.
I mean,
Well,
I-
technically,
we're already
Oppenheimer-
giving it its flowers. We haven't seen the movie.
Yeah. we
No,
haven't
I don't
seen
care,
it.
man. I'm there, you know? I'm there.
May thy
Maybe.
knife tip and shatter. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys
Uh,
see it tomorrow. It's so fucking annoying.
All right. Well, that wraps up our Denis section, and we have some more stuff we want to cover in this episode still, but we won't go on for too much longer. But
Yeah.
George, Avatar: The Last Airbender, are you the only one who's seen any of it? I think so, because Cam said he was gonna, but
I
didn't.
think so.
I think
yeah.
now I'm just going to rewatch the animated. As I
Yeah,
said
just rewatch the
earlier.
anime.
Go ahead and give your thoughts.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief because we're already coming up on 2:40, 2:15 actually, so we have time. Before we started recording, Cam and I were talking about like the discourse on this on Twitter. People are being very aggressive in both directions. Some people calling it the worst thing they've ever seen. Some people calling it the best thing they've ever seen. I think it's just fine, and I think it's perfectly okay to say it's just fine. I said in my TikTok review, I think whether you're a fan of the animated show or if you're not a fan of the animated show, this live action adaptation is going to give you things that you really like, and then it's going to give you things that you probably fucking hate. There are aspects of this show that I do not like. There are aspects of the show that I really, really like. The design of the show, the production, the costume, the casting, I think they all got perfect. Not so perfect with the casting. I'll backtrack on that. I think some of the casting is iffy, but the design of the show, production, and costume, I think is fantastic. For the people that thought this was going to be a just straight 1-to-1 scene for scene shot remake of the animated show, I think that's such a stupid reason to be upset. This was never going to be shot for shot. Obviously, there are moments from the animated show that I would have liked to see in live action, but we just don't get those things. I think right from the get-go, episode 1, when Aang goes into the Avatar state to escape Zuko, we don't see that in live action. So there are moments like that where I just wish that we did see, but expecting this to have been a 1-for-1 scene for scene remake of the original, I think that's just a dumb expectation. I think I said in my TikTok review, it's weird to like put a finger on like what exactly it is that just doesn't make this that good of a show. And like the best I can do is it lacks sauce. And I'm going to use the word sauce. Seth, what's up?
Sorry, just to interrupt. It's funny you were saying that because Anna's obviously started watching. She's a massive fan of the
The
animated
show.
one, and she watched like 2 or 3 episodes. How many episodes is there?
8.
8. Yeah, she watched like 2 or 3 episodes yesterday, and she was just like, I don't know why, but I just don't really have the urge to watch more. It's just something that it lacks, but I can't quite like put a finger on it. So it's funny you said
like
that.
I'm not
That
even
was it.
saying it as like a joke or to like to be
No,
funny.
she said
Like,
the same
it
thing.
literally like it lacks the sauce. Like it lacks
Yeah.
like the magic and the spark of the original. And I think a big problem, and I've fucking all of these Disney, MCU, Netflix shows, stop making them 8 episodes. This animated show season 1 was 23 episodes, half hour each. This is 8 episodes, 52 an hour each. We're just missing so many crucial character moments that just add to like this sense of wonder that the original animated show gave us. And I think that's like my biggest problem with it.
Yeah.
Another big problem I had, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this online, and this is where I kind of agree with a lot of people's negative ratings of this show. No one seems to be committed to the choreography. I think that's the best way to put it. Everyone's like, I think they nailed, excuse me, I think they nailed the bending, which obviously was everyone's like when they're fire bending, air bending. I think it all looks good, which is that was everyone's biggest concern coming off of M. Night's movie, because not even to shit on M. Night, but that's the worst part of that movie. He did the bending so poor, so terribly. I think so. Coming into this live action show, that was everyone's like biggest like, okay, how's the bending gonna look? The bending looks fine. It's the actors' commitment to the choreography. It just looks so dull. They don't seem like they're like enjoying the choreography of the bending, and it just leaves such a bad taste in your mouth. But again, there are things you're gonna love. I think they did the spirit world really well. I think the story of Omashu, a couple changes to that story, I think work pretty well. Every episode has its positives. Every episode has its negatives. If you're a fan of the original, I still say watch it. I don't think you're going to like it. I don't think you're going to love it. But again, I think it's perfectly fine to just walk out of the show and be like, it's super okay. Like, it's perfectly fine. It's not the best thing ever. I certainly don't think it's the worst thing ever.
I think the issue is people on social media are too hyperbolic. It's either amazing or terrible. It can't never be like, fine,
everything. Doesn't matter what we're talking about. Everything is so exaggerated.
Especially if it's like something that's like adaptation like that, which I think is interesting, because obviously I think we'll touch on this, but I don't know if we're doing news today, but like the Naruto live action movie that's just been confirmed, I think it would be like exactly the same reaction, because people are kind of grown up with it. It'll either be the worst thing in the world or the best thing in the world, and no one can find a middle ground with these things. And it's quite annoying to see reactions online like that sometimes.
Like, it's perfectly fine to just walk out of something and be like, yeah, that was like, okay.
They're setting up a massive universe for them, though, because they have
huge
season
universe.
2 and season 3 planned. They have shorts or series planned. They have movies planned.
The film coming out, the animated film, isn't there? Like 2025.
There's like 2, right? One's like Zuko, and then
Yeah, they have a lot. God, there's like a whole timeline picture I can pull up. But I think the next project they're working on is a sequel to the animated show, where it's like all of the characters. I thought it was a show. It could be a film. I could be wrong, but it's about all of them in like their 30s, basically. There's a lot being planned. I think the success of this whole universe kind of relies on this show and how they kind of execute season 1 and season 2. I will say, going into season 2, because the casting is a big part of the show, and I think they did not nail the casting for a couple of characters. If they fuck up Toph, they're done. Scrap the universe, scrap everything. If they fuck up the casting of Toph, don't even bother continuing this universe. No one will watch it.
I just don't think, I've not seen the show, so tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anything like this is ever going to be that successfully adapted into live action. It's like, isn't it like trying to do like Attack on Titan in live action? Like, how are you going to do that?
Yeah,
just like it's weird.
I don't know. It's almost like Aquaman. Like, I think Aquaman animated is just so cool, but like, it's hard not to make it like corny in live action. Even though I think James Wan was successful with his 2 Aquaman movies, it's still so difficult to like not look at these movies and be like, this is corny. Like, it's a bit
like
corny.
Scooby-Doo that adapted from cartoon to live action perfectly in every single way.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying.
We got a couple trailers this week. Borderlands, Seth, thoughts?
Oh, it just looks shit. I don't care. Like, people were annoyed.
I've
played the games. Okay. I've played the games. Admittedly not for a while. I do think the casting choices, whilst they might work as a character, I just think it's kind of like a boring choices. Minus Cate Blanchett. Like, I love Jack Black, don't get me wrong, but like Jack Black, Kevin Hart, it's whatever.
Cate Blanchett's so weirdly in there.
It is, but it kind of works for her character, I will say. I know they're looking to cast like a comedian for the Robot Keys or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just think these sort of films just look a bit shit. That's my issue.
The cast alone is enough to make me think it's going to be not great. But I mean, not talking about Cate Blanchett, but I never played the games. I've watched
games.
Of it.
Cool.
I don't know. It looks whatever. But if the people who love the games love the movie, then more power to them.
This is going to be Five Nights at Freddy's all over again, boys. So just prepare. Just so you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll give Borderlands fans credit. I'll already assume they're not going to be as annoying as Five Nights at Freddy's fans, but we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
sure.
We also got a trailer for Boy Kills World, coming out April 26th, produced by Sam Raimi, Bill Skarsgård, and another deliciously weird role for him. I don't know. This could be great, could be awful from the trailer alone. It looks
I don't
weird.
think I watched this, to be honest. I saw it, but I don't think I actually watched it.
Mhm.
Saw some reactions.
Anything with a Skarsgård in it, whether it's the father or of the patriarchy or any of the kids, is going to have my attention. And especially when you let him off the chains like this, looks like it should be fun. I mean, Bill seems like the weirdest of the bunch, but
I always like watching any of them.
Mhm.
You know, it's good
They
to
just
watch
fully
that.
commit every single time, whether it's to a dramatic role or to something as odd as this or Pennywise.
French villain in John Wick 4 was weird. Was it John Wick 4? Yeah, it was.
Yeah. But we can move into some movie news. We won't spend too much time on this, but obviously a lot of big news this week. Mickey 17 now releasing January 31st, 2025 in IMAX. So should be fun to see in IMAX. But disappointing it's delayed. The most
I said this, Tyler, last week on our podcast. As I said, I bet you it's fucking delayed.
Yeah, we were talking about that last week. We're like, we need something, give us some sort of hope that we're going to see it. But the thing I'm most annoyed about the delay is that freaking when it was initially delayed indefinitely, and then people were tweeting it. There's so many people that were like so righteous and confident. They're like, guys, it's just a release. It's going to headline. It's coming out in September. Like they're making it a secret now because it's going to be just such a banger at Cannes. It's like now I'm just like pissed.
I thought so too. I think it was just pure delusion, honestly. I was like, oh, it's probably going to be Cannes. You know?
But like, I just feel like the way people talked about it was a way of like, we're so much more ingrained and we're so much more in the know of how films work than you guys. That guys, it's just clearly going to be Cannes. It's like, shut up, losers. Ballerina also delayed a year to June 6, 2025. Chad Stileski is not directing, but he said it's did not have enough action scenes, so they're kind of reworking how it's going to work, which sounds like could be good because, I mean, John Wick, at the end of the day, you know, you can love the story or not, but at the end of the day, they're action flicks and you need the great action. And especially after the Continental did not do great, sounds like it should be good.
No one's talked about the Continental since.
Dude, that just
no one has talked about it. It's crazy.
No one talked about it whatsoever. And then the budget for Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2 is now $310 million, ballooning from $165 million. Similar to the Mickey 17 delay news, there's a lot of people are like, we're in the know. The only reason it's ballooned this much is because the COVID delays. It's like, is a COVID delay going to double the budget? Don't really think it's just that.
Like this is it's mental,
a crazy budget. But and a lot of people are saying like this is just another sign yet again that we're going to be on the brink of yet again another collapse like we saw in the 80s, 90s of production studios where budgets are just going to go to the tubes, which should lead to some more fun auteur driven stuff. But this is just not sustainable. These budgets are just not sustainable.
This is not making any money. I don't care if it's Gladiator. Like, this is obscene.
I mean, Napoleon didn't make any money. This is going to be like Ridley Scott. He's just going out with a bang for his.
Gladiator doesn't have that hold on people. Like Gladiator is one of those films. It's like it's your dad's favorite film, you know. So it's going to bring in a lot more audiences than Napoleon did, I think.
But still, it's going to be tough to top that $310 million.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, what's the marketing? Do you say what's the like?
It's usually like double that. So it's probably like they're probably going to make 800, 900 to maybe $1 billion to break even, like close to it. Like it's crazy because usually you take production budget times 2 and then add that on top of it, and that's what marketing is. And I think it's going to be a big make or break movie for Paul Mescal because I think we're going to see because he's every kind of niche film community's favorite guy, but will he be able to break into the leading man block? But because people were like, maybe he's gonna be in Fantastic Four. I think he's not. This will be kind of a make or break. See if is he like movie star level.
I think he is. I think he's that.
I think so too. But it'll be interesting to see, like our dads watching a Paul Mescal movie and seeing what they think of it. Tom Cruise been cast in Alejandro Inarritu's next film, and film Twitter burned down over this. Which
like I mean, Inarritu.
That works.
I don't love. I think Revenant's fine. I think Birdman's fine. I don't love his films, but this is still exciting. Like Tom Cruise is getting involved in more stuff that's not action related. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. We love a Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise combination, but I think this is really exciting. I know you tweeted as well, Tyler. I'm fucking excited about this. It's cool. You know?
Yeah, I think Tom Cruise is he's a very smart and strategic man with his career, and we love his Christopher McQuarrie action films. We love the Edge of Tomorrows of the world. There might be a sequel. It sounds like coming as well. We love Mission Impossible. We love Top Gun Maverick, but he's smart as well, and he knows like this isn't sustainable if he just keeps doing these big action set piece films, like eventually people are gonna get tired. Like
he needs to show people what he showed in the late 90s. That man can act so well. Like, it's incredible. He's so good. It's ridiculous.
And Inarritu is such a bizarre director. Like Bardo, I think I might be the only one on the podcast, but such a weird film. Like it's gonna be. There's a lot of potential here for Tom Cruise and them working together. We all saw, of course, the Batman Beyond pitch from the producers of Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse. Very similar animation style. Looks like it could be awesome. Sounds like initially when they pitched it, it was a complete no. We're now kind of in the maybe territory, and I think whoever leaked it or however it got onto Twitter did the right thing, because the reaction was overwhelmingly like, give it now.
It's annoying.
Dude, people are also so fucking quick to like hate. People are like, is every movie going to look like Spider-Verse now? It's like two movies have looked like Spider-Verse since Spider-Verse.
And also that style of artwork can fit into so many hero stories. So why it's not
every movie's going to look like Spider-Verse. Like, God forbid every movie looks fucking sick.
Good. If every animated film was as good as Spider-Verse, we're in for fucking money. I don't want some Pixar shit. It's great. That animation style, in my opinion, can fit into so many stories. Like even like someone commented,
a Batman Beyond movie, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Even like someone commented on my video, like the Blue Beetles of the world. Like imagine that character in that kind of universe. I think it's cool as fuck, man. Like, I'm really happy with it. I think they should. And the reaction. This is like the most interactions I've seen discussing film getting. Like this was crazy. Like this was crazy. The reaction to this. So yeah, fucking bring it out.
Yeah, how many damn like 3D animation style, Pixar-esque style movies? Like we've gotten hundreds of thousands of those. Like we can
complain about this.
We can afford, the Spider-Verse films, Puss in Boots: The Last Witch, and a Batman Beyond to have kind of that more comic-y, futuristic-y type animation style. But
yeah, why would you complain about this? Who cares?
Great. And then Avengers 5 no longer.
Let me share, Tyler.
What?
Give me the sauce. Let me share, man.
Oh shit! I didn't even see you were trying to share something. Yeah, looks great. That would just be so good.
You don't think I could do that? Give me like a day, I could animate something like that.
Yeah, true.
Get the kid who does the Lego on it. He can make it. He turns around those Lego trailers and like
they're crazy. Yeah, they're Deadpool on the other day.
But Avengers 5 no longer called the Kang Dynasty, and then of course Marvel saying they were planning on moving away from it even before Jonathan Majors was fired because of how Quantumania performed.
Yeah,
that's
whatever.
Like a classic me when I lie. Like,
yeah,
it's clearly because they have to move away from Jonathan Majors. I mean, yes, Quantumania did flop, but a lot of their movies have not done Marvel standards lately. I think they're just kind of using that as a scapegoat.
I agree.
Disney and Sony have signed an agreement, so Sony Pictures will take over all of Disney's physical media production going forward. I think this could be great because, I mean, Disney in general for physical media production hasn't been on the ball. I know a lot of the Marvel series specifically, people were asking for years to get like WandaVision on disc, to get Loki on disc, and it took them so much begging. And I remember initially we talked about in the pod when WandaVision was initially released physically, like they didn't actually have a disc. They're like, we're going to release a physical copy. It's going to be like a code to what, and we're like, what are we doing here? But what I think is kind of funny is I feel like Sony, if they're going to release all Disney's DVDs, they're just going to lose all the shipments of like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. They're going to just hold on to that Spider-Man. They're going to be like, yeah, we're going to print all of Marvel's discs now in an Ultra 4K HD. And then they'll be like, where's Spider-Man Homecoming and No Way Home? And they'll be like, we can't find them. I'm sorry. But we next have Superman Legacy beginning filming this week. Saw all the cast together. Looks like a fun time. Looks like a great cast.
Nicholas Hoult looks cool.
Nicholas Hoult with his shaved head, and he's got a little bit of stubble as well. And then freaking David Cornsweet looking like he's going to be a great casting because he was just towering over everyone. In
the
I did not realize how tall that dude was.
He's
huge, big guy. Isn't he? It's crazy. Yeah. Nicholas Holt's not a small man.
And he looked like a little kid.
Towering.
Yeah, Nicholas Hoult group selfie, and then just David Cornsweet just towering over everybody. So he's definitely a force on screen. I was not familiar with this game. Glenn Powell refuses to be an action star. He's going to be in Chad Powers, which Cam, I wanted your take on this because I think you know Chad Powers because the Eli Manning.
I know it.
Like
fake.
How is this
that a Penn State?
Yeah, it was Penn State, but how is this going to be a movie? Like Georgia,
this looks hilarious. This looks hilarious. I don't know what's going on, but I guess it doesn't look hilarious. We don't know anything about it, but Michael Waldron and Glenn Powell just teaming up to co-write a comedy series about a guy who just can't, what is it? He fails in high school or he fails in college. So he goes back to high school for his glory days or something. Hilarious. Awesome.
It's just crazy that this like meme of Eli Manning faking like he's like a recruit at Penn State became like now a movie with Eli Manning's got to be over the
Ted
moon.
Lasso,
Glenn
brother.
Powell has been cast to play the Eli Manning fake character.
Yeah.
Like Eli Manning always just looks like a doof on Monday Night Football, mouth half open, drooling a bit. Now Glenn Powell's gonna be playing him. So.
The Manning cast is the best part of Monday Night Football.
Eli Manning, big win for you this week that Glenn Powell's gonna be taking your role. Gareth Edwards set to direct the next Jurassic World movie. I think we all saw the creator and said what he did visually is incredible. What he did with the story, maybe not the best. So, existing. I mean, we didn't love the Jurassic World Dominion story whatsoever, but I mean, I'm excited to see him in a franchise. I know.
Give me more dinosaur slop. I love it.
Yeah, I'll always go and see a dinosaur movie no matter what. Even if I hate it, like if there's dinosaurs in it, I'm gonna be buying a ticket.
It's better than the worst movie I've ever seen just because there are dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's valid. Even though 65 came close for me, but 4 separate biopic films are in the works about each member of the Beatles that are all going to be releasing in theaters in 2027. Sam Mendes is going to direct each one with somewhat interconnected stories. Wild, weird project. Very.
This is like I think this could be the worst.
Could be
thing
really
ever.
interesting.
It could be the worst thing ever. It could be really, really fucking good. But I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be pretty. I don't know. It's kind of. I do quite like the fact they've taken kind of 4 different routes with it, though. I think that's kind of cool. But it's a risk. It's a big thing to. This is gonna upset a lot of people if you get this wrong. Like really, really badly. But
at least the first one will for sure get the theaters packed because obviously the Beatles are as mania as it can get with how many fans they have. I'm not necessarily like well versed in Beatles lore or their music, but we'll give it a shot. I mean, we have 3 years to prep for it. Maybe I'll start listening to some Beatles to get ready for the BCU, the Beatles Cinematic Universe coming. Maybe we'll get a tease of like a Yoko Ono like spinoff. Like we'll have to see.
People would say like Sophia Coppola is going to come out and do like
that was a hilarious tweet. That was perfect. That was a sequel to Blue Mountain State is in the works. I know Seth and Sam is as well.
This is such shit, man. This show is so bad. It's so funny.
No, this show's great. And Alan, and the fact that they're all returning makes me very excited about it.
Did anyone from the show do anything other than Alan Richson?
I can't. I think that Moran did like a couple of comedy films here and there, but I don't. Think
the cheerleader is
the main
kind
one.
of famous. What's her name?
I know what you mean.
I'm gonna look at the. I know the coach.
George, you need to watch it, man. It's like George. It's so funny. Like it actually is. I'm not huge on American like comedy shows either, but it's. So
Did you
funny.
see Johnny Manziel once in it?
Oh God,
Tyler. He tweeted, "It was like I would do anything to be in this or something." Denise Richards.
Stephen Amell was in Blue Mountain State.
Wait, Denise Richards,
the guy who plays Arrow.
Stephen Amell was in the show.
Yeah, it said he's Travis McKenna in Blue Mountain State.
Hell yeah! Oh hell yeah! I Stephen Amell has made some real like stupid comments recently. I love Arrow.
Oh yeah, Lucas Till's in it. He was in that. I think he's been in some like more Disney, or he's in the "You Belong with Me" music video with Taylor Swift. But he's Golden Arm, the quarterback they bring.
He was also in the Hannah Montana movie, I believe, with Taylor Swift.
Wow!
But just a wild that this is even going to come to be.
In a Transformers at one point. No, the Meg. Yeah, he's the guy from the Meg. Yeah, that's it.
Is it just me who thought Blue Mountain State was older than it actually is? I didn't realize it came out in 2010. It feels like it's
no, I didn't realize that either. It feels like a 2003 show.
Yeah, like American Pie era, late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah.
All-time show to watch in college.
So funny. So
funny. Purge 6 is going to be the final film of the franchise. Script is done. I burned through all the Purges like a couple months ago.
It's so like, shit. No,
yeah, but they're never like the worst thing I've ever seen. They're always not like terrible.
No, I think the recent two with absolutely like the first Purge and the Forever Purge. I think they were absolutely awful, terrible. There's only one good one in my opinion. Only one.
Anarchy.
Yes, that's that. Frank Grillo bangs in that. He carries hard
for sure. But yeah, I mean the saga's coming to an end. So yeah.
Good.
Do you believe that?
No. Do they make money? I don't know actually. Do they?
I think they make.
I'm sure they do. They're all pretty. I mean, especially the first one was like not great.
Yeah. The first couple. Yeah, I mean like now kind of thing.
But yeah, I don't think the recent ones might have turned profits, but we'll see. They're ending the series at least. And then lastly, we're just gonna shout out Bridget Mendler for probably being like the coolest person of our generation, with now being a CEO of her own startup, Northwood Space. So beyond being a Disney Channel star, beyond being a musician. She has a law degree from Harvard Law School. She has a doctorate from MIT. She announced she's a new mother. She adopted in 2022.
She just came out of nowhere.
How busy is this woman? Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
She just came out of nowhere with all this shit, too.
I thought you were busy, Tyler.
This was like a quick flex week for her.
Yeah, it really
quick
is.
flex week because
You're allowed to flex with this.
She's
It's
gotten
fine.
so many advanced degrees from the most prestigious universities in the entire world. She's CEO of a space company trying to go to like it's just
That's
insane.
isn't
And this is the woman from Good Luck Charlie and Lemonade Mouth. So clearly, I mean, obviously the most successful Disney Channel star in terms of like achieving stuff in life. Miley Cyrus is right up there as well, but just very
Selena
different
Gomez.
career paths. Selena Gomez, yeah, I guess.
She's one of the like most famous people.
Miley Cyrus was
Yeah.
in Disney Channel.
Yeah, Hannah Montana.
Wouldn't say one bit. It's fine. I'm just joking.
Okay.
You were joking. I thought you were an idiot.
No. I watched Hannah Montana. Don't worry. iCarly was better though. That was the one I grew up with.
Oh, yeah.
Facts. iCarly was great.
I grew up with iCarly.
Jason Earls was like 36 while
It's
filming.
so weird. When I found that out, I was like, that is
all time
fucking
like
weird.
fun fact is Jason Earls was like 36 filming.
It was so weird when I found that out. Yeah, it's
Dude,
crazy.
he was way too old to be playing a high school student, but
It's so weird.
we'll wrap up our episode of Real Talk there. We went on for over 2.5 hours, so we hope you enjoyed this longer episode this week of talking Denis Villeneuve, a lot of glazing of Denis Villeneuve, getting ready for Dune Part 2 coming out this week, and then also just, the classic movie news and Avatar Last Airbender review. So make sure that subscribe button if you haven't already. Shout out, as always, once again to Stefan Johnson, our executive producer. Thank you for helping make this possible every single week. Thank you to all our patrons as well. Make sure you check it out in the Patreon description down below, the link to go check out all the different tiers. Join our Discord. It's a lot of fun in there. And with that, we will see you on Thursday with a game that Cam has for us that we don't really know exactly what it is. You'll have to wait and see for Thursday what it's going to be. And we will see you then. Peace.